Naranasan ko nang maiwan. Hindi ko na mabilang kung ilang beses akong nakiusap hanggang sa maubos ang pangungusap. Naisip ko na ring sumuko dahil sa sunod-sunod na bagyo. Parang walang katapusan itong kalbaryo. Saan nga ba ako patungo? Saan ba ang dulo nito? Sa paglalakbay, muntik na akong huminto. Pero sinalubong mo ko. Bumungad sa akin yung mga mata mong gustong matuto. Ang mga kamay mong sabik sumulat. Ang mga labi mong nais bumigkas na mga salitang nakakapawi ng pagod. Tinatalo mo itong lungkot at takot. Binibigyan mo ng sagot ang mga katanungan sa aking puso.
Masampat, abi-abi, mga anak.
Masampat pala, abi-abi, ikaw mo.
Na sa dami ng alinlangan ko't tanong sa mundo, ito ang nag-iisang sigurado. Mahal ko ang pagtuturo. Ito ang nagbibigay buhay sa aking pagkatao. At ang mga pangarap nila, ang aking ligaya. Minsan na rin akong naiwan.
Nagsaaman.
Kaya't sisikapin kong hindi mo ito maranasan.
May mga araw na hindi natin ginusto. Kulang ang mga salita para ilarawan ang sakripisyo. Kung minsay tinatalo ng pagod ang ligaya.
Umabot na sa 20 ang kumpirmadong kaso ng coronavirus disease 29.
Madalas ay niyayakap tayo ng pangamba. Ngunit sa mga araw na iyon, pinili nating hindi sumuko. Patuloy tayong humahanap ng solusyon. Hindi tayo tumigil sa paghahatid ng edukasyon. Mahirap at marami mang balakid. Hindi man perpekto, hindi man sapat sa ngayon. Magtulungan tayo upang sa bawat araw, unti-unti mapawi ang pangamba. Maibalik ang saya at magbigay ginhawa. Upang bawat sakripisyo ay masuklian ng tamang halaga, ligayang walang katumbas sa piling niya. May mga araw na hindi natin ginusto, pero gagawa natin ng paraan ito.
Ako si Pambing Nueva na babalita.
Anak, sundin mo kung ano ang nilalaman ng puso mo.
Thank you, Tay!
Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niregaluhan mo ako ng mikropono? Ang sabi mo sa akin, susuportahan mo ko kahit anong gusto ko. Ang lagi mo pang ang bilin, anak, sundin mo kung anong nilalaman ng puso mo.
Ganda talaga.
lagi mo ring pinapaalala na ako ang pinakamaganda. Mas maganda pa sa mga crush mong artista sa TV. Alam mo ba, Tay? Pinaniwalaan ko yun.
Ako, si Pam Villanueva, nagbabalita.
Hindi mo naman kasi sinabing mahilig ka sa mga palabas na comedy. Yan tuloy. Umasa ako masyado. Hindi ko inakalang iba pala ang pamantayan ng mundo. Hindi ko napaghandaan ang sakit ng mga salita mula sa tao. Ganun pa man, hindi ko kinalimutan ang bilin mo. Tay, ngayong araw, maglalakas loob ulit akong sundin ang laman ng puso ko. Ngayong araw, tutuparin ko ang pangarap nating dalawa. Handa na akong yakapin ng pagkakataong ito. Ano man ang sabihin ng iba.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a long and hard journey. There will be a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. I expect a lot from you, but in the end, when you become teacher broadcasters, it'll all be worth it. Are you ready? Yes! Your task at hand is to deliver your lines straight at the camera lens.
Greetings, bright minds! I hope you're having an amazing day. It's me, your English learning buddy.
Good job, DJ. Okay, next. Any volunteers? May nagtatago doon. Teacher Pam. Teacher Pam, I can see you.
Sa pagkakataong ito, babaliin ko ang pamantayan ng mundo.
Magandang wika at maalab na panitikan sa ating lahat, grade 10. Narito kayo ngayon sa classroom ni Miss Pam, ang mamatanong na kahit sa camera laging umaanggulo, maniwala ka, sasamahan kitang mag-enjoy at matuto. Tatandaan, sa panitikang Filipino, abot kamay mo ang mundo.
Alright!
Haharap ako sa camera upang magturo, upang hindi lamang makulong ang mga aral sa 4 na sulok ng silid-aralan, upang mas maraming bata ang makaalam na ang mga pangarap ay binuo upang matupad.
Okay, teachers, dito nagwawakas ang ating workshop, pero hindi ang inyong training. Bye-bye!
Haharap ako sa camera upang magturo, para mas maraming bata ang makaalam na kahit matagal ang proseso ng pangarap, ang mahalagay umuusad. Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niragaluhan mo ko ng mikropono? Hindi ko to nagamit kanina. Pero, nagamit ko lahat ng paalala mo. Hindi na rin pala ako naniniwalang kasing ganda ko ng mga crush mong artista. Pero, mapapanood mo na ako sa TV para sa mas malalim pang advokasya.
Sasamahan kita kahit isang eroplano ang agwat nating dalawa. Dahil kung nakakapagsalita lamang ang paliparan, ikukwento niya kung ilang beses akong lumingon pabalik sa'yo nung araw na ako'y lumisan. Papalubog ang araw noon at dahan-dahan lumulubog din ang puso ko sa kalungkutan. Ayaw sana kitang iwan. Gusto kitang samahan sa mga umagang nagmamadali ka papasok sa eskwela. Gusto kitang damayan sa mga gabing nahihirapan ka sa matematika. Gusto kitang yakapin sa tuwing gusto mo nang sumuko dahil akala mo'y wala kang talento sa pagpinta. Ngunit anak, gusto kong ipaalam sa'yo na ikaw ang nagpinta ng buhay ko. Nang dumating ka, naging makulay ang mundo ko. Ang dating mga baluktot na linya ay naging tuwid. Ang dating madilim na larawan ay nabigyan ng liwanag. Kaya anak, gusto pa rin kitang samahan sa bawat mong karanasan, sa mga tagumpay at kabiguan. Sasamahan kita hanggang marating mo ang mga ulap, hanggang maabot mo ang iyong mga pangarap.
Hello, Ma?
Hello anak, sorry kakatapos lang ng trabaho ni Mama.
Okay lang po, Ma. Kakatapos lang din naman po namin maglaro.
Mukhang nandyan ka ulit sa paborito mong lugar ah. O sige, ready ka na ba? Punta ka na sa DepEd Commons. Math tayo ngayon ha. Saan na nga ulit tayo nahinto kahapon? Sa problem solving na, di ba? Anak, sasamahan kita. Kahit isang eroplano ang agwat nating dalawa.
Ikaw ang una kong pag-ibig. At hanggang ngayon, sa'yo ko bumabalik. Ikaw ang pumupuno sa puso ko't isip. Mga salita mo ang dahilan ng pagkasabik. Nananabik, bumabalik. Ang mga alaala simula pagkabata, pinapaalala mo sa akin sa ina. At ang mga kwentong pinagsaluhan naming dalawa. Nananabik, bumabalik. Sapagkat nasa iyo ang banta sa dulo ng mga pangungusap. Ikaw ang aking pahinga. Ang paglaya sa emosyong gustong kumawala. Mula sa mga tanong, sa padamdam, paghinto. Sa pagpapatuloy, paninigurado at mga bakasiguro. Kaya sa pagkakataong ito, gusto kitang yakaping muli. Miss, gusto ko ulit maramdaman kung paano tayo nagsimula. Gusto kong balikan ang unang salita. May I borrow that book?
This one?
Oo. Sana.
Sure.
Unang talata, unang kabanata. Sapagkat ikaw ang una kong pag-ibig. Sa'yo ko unang naramdaman ang pagkasabik.
Good morning, learners! Welcome to DepEd TV. Are you excited to learn a new story?
Nananabik. Umabalik. Ikaw ang una kong pag-ibig.
Gising na. Ebeng, malilate ka na. Nay, si Ebeng ay pabumangon no. Sige, ako na dyan. Maghilamos ka na doon.
Pwede ba sa itong damit, di ba?
Oo, pero malit na sa akin yan, kaya sa'yo na lang. Ayan, kasyang-kasya pala sa'yo eh.
Salamat, kuya.
O basta, may kinig ka mabuti mamaya ah. At ito, importante ito ah.
Magandang araw mga bata! Kumusta na kayo? Muli, ako si Teacher Mark. Kaya ako nakasama kayo ngayong araw. Natin, lamang tungkol sa ating kalusugan. Kaya tara, simulan na natin!
Lola, alam mo ba, ayaw pa rin mag-school ng friend kong si Brian. Kasi daw may COVID pa.
Ano namang sinabi mo sa kanya, Apo?
Ang sabi ko po, hindi naman po talaga papasok sa school eh. Sa bahay lang mag-aaral hanggat may COVID pa.
Ano namang sagot niya?
Tapos sabi niya, paano daw mag-aaral sa bahay wala namang teacher sa bahay? Di ba nga Lola? Ano nga ulit nung tawag doon sa hindi naman papasok sa school pero mag-aaral pa rin?
Apo, ang tawag niyan ay distance learning.
Yun nga po, mag-aaral pa rin kami gamit ng computer. Di ba Lola?
Oo, pero bukod sa online, may mga lessons din na ipapalabas sa TV at radio para makapag-aral pa rin ang mga bata kahit wala kayong computer at internet.
Paano po kapag wala ring TV at radyo?
May ipamimigay na mga printed material ang mga teachers sa inyo.
Di ba po ang tawag dun blend?
Ako, blended learning. Ibig sabihin ng blended learning ay gagamitin ang iba't ibang pamamaraan ng pagtuturo gamit ang internet, ang TV, radyo at ang print para hindi kailangang pumunta sa school ng mga teachers at mga bata.
Kaya po pala si Teacher Rose hindi na rin kailangan pumasok ng school.
Tama, hindi na rin papasok ang mga teachers sa school para gagabayan pa rin nila kayo at laging tatawagan ang mga magulang para kukumustahin ang pag-aaral ng mga bata tulad mo.
Tumawag nga po si Teacher Rose sa nanay. Ang sabi niya, mag-download ng DepEd Commons sa cellphone Games ba yun, Lola?
May kasama ding games, pero yung may matutunan ka. May mga lessons din kasi sa DepEd Commons na pwedeng gamitin ng mga magulang at teachers para maturuan ang mga bata.
Sasabihin ko rin po kay Brian na mag-download siya ng DepEd Commons.
At sabihin mo rin sa kanya na huwag na siyang matakot mag-school. Dahil sa pasukan, sa bahay lang naman kayo mag-aaral. Gamit ang internet. Kung walang internet, TV. Kung walang TV, radyo. At kung walang radyo, ay print.
Oo nga po, Lola. Hindi naman po pala dapat huminto sa pag-aaral kahit may COVID eh.
Magtutulungan kami para magpatuloy ang edukasyon.
Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Welcome to the first ever virtual DepEd SIPAG 2021. Pagbati ng isang positibong araw sa ating lahat mula sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. We are extremely honored to have with us the officials and personnel of the Department of Education gathered to take part in this momentous event. Mula Luzon, Visayas hanggang Mindanao, tayo ay sama-samang maging parte ng mahalagang pagpupulong na ito na may hangaring itaguyod ang layunin ng kagawaran ng edukasyon para sa taong ito. Ako si Arman mula sa DepEd Youth Formation Division, ang inyong host. And welcome to Strand Interface for Program Guidelines Conference 2021. At para sa mas maayos na daloy ng ating programa, sa umagang ito muna ang ilang paalaala.
This is a short guide on Zoom video conferencing. It will include classroom etiquette, features, and tips and tricks. Our classroom is a safe space where everyone should feel safe to share. Respect ideas and never share information from class, just like you would in the regular classroom. Let's start with classroom etiquette. When it comes to a Zoom conference, this is our virtual classroom. Appropriate classroom behavior is expected. Be sure to log into your meeting in a distraction-free and quiet environment. Don't rename yourself. Attendance needs to be taken, so no using silly names. Be sure to mute your audio as soon as you get into a conference. This helps eliminate background noise. In order to speak, you can press and hold the spacebar, which will unmute you until you release the spacebar. Make sure your video is turned on so we can see you. Be sure to be on time. Be prepared with your computer, pencil and paper, and arrive at least 5 minutes early. Now on to just a couple of the many features in Zoom. If your connection is unstable, stopping the video might help. If you'd like to add a comment and speak in the conference, simply raise your hand or use the raise hand feature, which you can find on the bottom center of your Zoom screen. You can also use chat to post questions and comments silently. The chat features can be found at the bottom center of the screen. Be aware video and chats are recorded. If it's not appropriate in class, it's not appropriate online. Finally, a few tips and tricks. Be sure to have pencil and paper handy to take notes or jot down thoughts or questions you might want to ask before the meeting is over. Using a headset with an external mic offers the best audio. Let others know you're finished speaking by saying, "That's all, I'm done," or "Thank you." It helps to give a thumbs up if your question has been answered. Beware of lighting. If a light source is behind you, say a window or a light, it can make you appear in darkness and very difficult to see you or your expressions. If you follow just these few suggestions, Zoom conferences will be a terrific experience for everyone.
And to formally start, may we request everyone to show our love for our country by singing the Philippine National Anthem, which will be followed by the panunumpa na katapatan sa watawat ng Pilipinas and our prayer.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, palas ng silanganan.
Alapang puso sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting. Sa manlulubi, di ka pa sisiin.
Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit kong dugha. Madilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang gusto ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nanginginig. Ang bituin at araw niya'y kailan pang may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng ating pagsikap.
Buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pag may mga api. Ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas. Ako ay Pilipino.
Buong katapatang nanunumpa
sa watawat ng Pilipinas.
At sa bansang kanyang sinasagisag.
na may dangal, katarungan,
at kalayaan na ipinakikilos
sa bayan ng makadiyos,
mga kalikasan, makatao,
at makabansa.
Let us all bow our head.
Dear God, the spring of life and light, you have called us, your children,
to serve your will with open hearts. We are grateful for the opportunity to gather in your name
And be of service to others. Grant us the light of your Spirit to lead the way.
as we fulfill our responsibilities for the betterment of education in this country.
Using our puso, may you grant to us the purest of intentions and the burning desire to spread love to our fellow countrymen.
The love you selflessly showered to us is the kind of love we want, flowing within us, so we can be stewards of love for others.
Using our galing is a gift from you. Help us as we use these talents and abilities for your glory.
May you help us keep this vigor within us to continue to refine and hone these abilities for the greater good.
Grant us the humility to acknowledge that we do not own these talents. They are yours.
Therefore, we hope to be deserving channels of your generosity and love.
Using our talino, may you open our minds to endless possibilities of the world.
May you guide us and lead us as we make decisions that will impact the lives of others.
Shower us with the knowledge to navigate through trials and obstacles and the wisdom to lead with discernment.
Compassion and empathy. God of love, you entrust upon us the treasures of the Holy Spirit for the common good.
May your blessings radiate from us to others in a new spirit of service. We ask this through our Creator, the light of the world. Amen.
Muli magandang araw sa ating lahat and welcome to SIPAG Conference 2021. Spearheaded by the Department of Education and the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, this event is made more possible in partnership with PLDT Enterprise, ensuring a quality and stable streaming of SIPAG 2021. And for this year's conference, it aims to discuss and finalize the role of OUA in the implementation of Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. Also, this significant gathering, attended by all central office personnel and their counterparts from the region and division levels, serves as an avenue for the discussion on updates, concerns, and plans on certain programs and projects expected for the year. With that, let us kickstart this event with words of welcome from our speaker, Attorney Salvador Kakatian Malana. He is described by his colleagues and friends as a driven, passionate, and result-oriented person who demonstrates in his work self-motivation, creativity, and determination. Attorney Malana has extensive background and experience in the field of law, as well as in public procurement and commercial contracts. Also, he served as a procurement consultant for various government offices here and abroad. He was consultant for several DOH-supervised government hospitals, the Philippine National Railway, the National Food Authority, the Philippine Television Network Incorporated, the Philippine National Police, the Presidential Anti-Graft Commission, the Department of Budget and Management Procurement Service, the Commission on Elections, and a number of local government units, among others. He also had a consulting stint with the government of Vietnam and the government of Lao People's Democratic Republic when he was assigned, under his contract with the World Bank, to do works for the following agencies: Ministry of Planning and Investment of Vietnam, Province of Ha Tây in Vietnam, Electricite of Vietnam, Ministry of Finance of Lao PDR, Ministry of Communication, Transport, Post and Construction of Lao PDR, Electricite du Laos PDR, and Vientiane, capital of Lao PDR. At the same time, he also did consultancy works for Genuine Equity for Mindanao, United States Agency for International Development, or yung tinatawag nating GEM-USED. Coffee International Development Party Limited under AUSAID, and was selected as member of the Bid Challenge Tribunal under the Millennium Challenge Account Philippines USAID. Attorney Malana was also previously employed with the Department of Agrarian Reform, the Court of Appeals, and the Government Procurement Policy Board. Prior to his joining the Department of Education as Assistant Secretary, he led a team that introduced and initially did the groundworks for the Department of Education Procurement Performance Enhancement Program, or PPEP, as a consultant under the Australian government's Basic Education Sector Transformation Program in the Philippines. He was president of SCM Training Solutions Incorporated and the managing partner of the law and consultancy offices of Malana and Associates. In private practice of law, he was active in litigation and trial, handling criminal, civil and commercial cases, and among others, and was engaged in government consultancy, mainly in the areas of procurement, public contracts, and supply chain management. He finished elementary education and secondary education from St. Paul University and University of St. Louis, and obtained a bachelor degrees in psychology. He obtained Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome ASEC Salvador C. Malana III for his words of welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to the Virtual Strand Interface on Programs and Guidelines, or SIPAG, Conference 2021. Considering the enormous challenges that we had to get to grips with in 2020, the Department of Education embraced the challenge to step up and remodel its approach to meet the demands associated with life's transition to a disruptive, disturbing new normal. The adoption of the Basic Education Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, for year 2020-2021 was the department's immediate response to mitigate the disruptions in the basic education sector. The BELCP offers a refashioned administrative blueprint and calls upon our creativity, strong leadership, critical decision-making, and renewed commitment for us to pass through and more or less overcome our present difficulties. Indeed, last year's commencement of the implementation of the BELCP definitely brought significant changes in the department's approach to delivering basic education. To start with, we want to express our appreciation to every individual who participated, contributed, and got involved in every stage or phase of implementation of programs and projects under the BELCP. We are extremely appreciative of everyone's efforts, even as we continue to encourage all of us to remain steadfast in our support and dedication. The administration strand, led by our very able Undersecretary Alain Delby Pascua, and of course, under the strong leadership, guidance, and command of our beloved Secretary Liling Briones, plays a vital role in the implementation of projects of the department. Hence, this gathering of central office officials and personnel and their counterparts from the regional and division offices is imperative for significant reasons. We need to define, determine, and clarify the strand's role. We also need to identify and lay down all the dependencies to gain a better sense of the extent and complexity of the work that is before us. We need to equip ourselves with the right tools, maximize our resources, and be familiar with the mechanisms with which our objectives are expected to be attained. We are fortunate to have the support of a great cadre of champions and advocates who continue to inspire and help us move through. We hope that after this conference, we would be able to strengthen our anchor on our goals and priorities, hone in on our targets, and work together more closely. This way, we are able as one organization to more easily navigate through the rough waters of uncertainties brought by the pandemic. As you know, there are a range of innovations and reforms that are under consideration. The speakers and reporters in this conference are identified and are prepared to highlight the key themes, trends, and directions that make up our renewed framework of operations. Especially interesting will be to learn the priorities and developments that are hinged on our learning continuity plan. The wonderful thing about SIPAG is that it provides a perfect avenue for interface and meaningful conversations, and therefore to bring varying perspectives from the various stakeholders, and that includes the leaders, the influencers, and the workers from all levels of governance. We are just so glad to have you in these conversations. Again, welcome to the SIPAG Conference 2021, and may this gathering be a great learning and fulfilling experience for all. Thank you. Maraming salamat. God bless you.
Maraming salamat, Asek Malana, for that opening words. At para naman sa ating opening remarks, we are so honored and humbled to be joined with one of the outstanding education leaders and champions in our country. He is a product of public elementary school education, having studied in Hirona North Central School in Tarlac, and in Mary Help of Christian Seminary and Binmalay, Pangasinan for high school. And take note, both of his parents were also public school teachers. He finished civil engineering in Adamson University and was awarded the Presidential Medallion and Campus Leadership Awards. He was also the first president of the Adamson University student government who was elected for 2 consecutive terms and represented the country in a World Youth Congress in Moscow, Russia. Not many know that he is one of the leading and best wild bird photographers of the country and released Haring Ibon, the Great Philippine Eagle. The first book focused solely on the national bird last April 2017. In 2016, upon recommendation of Secretary Briones, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte appointed him Undersecretary of the Department of Education, where he now supervises the Administrative Service, the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service, the Information and Communications Technology Service, the Education Facilities Division School Building Program, the Bureau of Learner Support Services covering Youth Formation Division, School Sports and Health, and the Baguio Teachers Camp and other properties of the DepEd. Folks, let's give a warm round of virtual applause to USEC Alain Del Bustamante Pascua.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Welcome po dito sa SIPAG 2021. Ito po yung Strand Instruction on Programs and Guidelines. Noong 2019, sinimulan natin itong SIPAG. Nagkaroon tayo ng General Assembly ng mga field coordinators, hindi lamang sa regional, kundi pati sa division offices. At ito ay ginanap natin sa Subic. Lahat dito ay nagtipon-tipon, yung iba't ibang mga coordinators ng mga programs ng OUA Strand o yung tinatawag na Office of the Undersecretary for Administration. At ito yung mga iba't ibang mga bureau, iba't ibang mga services, at iba't ibang mga division na nakabase sa central office at mayroong mga coordinators sa regions at saka sa mga divisions. Nagpulong-pulong po lahat yan sa Subic, 2 taon na nakararaan. At yon ay inayos ang mga programs, ang mga issues, ang mga concerns ng iba't ibang mga coordinators sa ilalim ng strand nito. Alam niyo po, itong Office of the Undersecretary for Administration o yung tinatawag natin Administration Strand, ay may iba't ibang mga bureau at services. Ang mga ito ay katulad ng Administrative Service na pinangungunahan ni Director Robert Agustin at sa ilalim niyan ay yung 4 na division, yung Asset Management Division na pinangungunahan ni Tess Ablay, yung Cash Division na pinapangunahan ni Sonia, yung General Services Division na pinapangunahan ni Boy Barte at yung Records Division na pinapangunahan naman ni Nanette. Yan yung admin service na nakabase sa central office. Yung pangalawang service dyan ay yung ICTS, yung Information and Communications Technology Service na pinapangunahan naman ni Director Abram Abanil. Mayroon yan 3 division na nasa ilalim niya. Yung infrastructure na pinangungunahan ni Engineer Ophel, yung solutions na pinapangunahan ni Madam Clarice, at yung support, user support, na pinapangunahan naman ni Karen. No? So 3 division yan. At may na-create na bagong unit sa ilalim ng ICTS. Yan yung Educational Technology Unit o EdTech. At ito ay pinapangunahan naman ni Mark Anthony C. Sa ilalim ng ICTS at sa mga divisions na yan, lalong-lalo na yung EdTech unit, sinimulan dyan yung tinatawag natin na DepEd broadcast at saka DepEd online. Yung DepEd online, ito yung DepEd Commons, DepEd TV Facebook channel, DepEd TV YouTube channel, at dito rin yung DepEd Learning Management System. Pag sinabi naman natin DepEd broadcast, ito yung DepEd TV at yung DepEd radio. Yan DepEd Commons, yan DepEd TV, DepEd radio, ay ngayon lumabas nung panahon ng pandemya. Nag-start yan nung nakaraang taon. Wala yan sa ating plano. Meron yan sa mga strategic, pero pinapilitan tayong ilabas yan sa panahon ng pandemya. Ang isa pang service natin sa ilalim ng administra ay yung DRRMS, Disaster Risk and Reduction Management Service, na pinangungunahan naman ni Director Ronilda Co. At ito ang in charge sa mga calamities at saka sa mga emergencies. Nandyan din sa ilalim ng ating strand yung Bureau of Learner Support Services o BLSS na pinangungunahan naman ni Lopez Santos III, Director Lopez Santos III. At sa ilalim niya ay may 3 division. Yung School Sports Division na pinangungunahan ni Cesar Abalon, yung School Health Division na pinangungunahan naman ni Dr. Cora Dumlao, at yung Youth Formation Division na pinangungunahan naman ni Adolf Aguilar. Yan yung malalaking mga services, 3 services, admin service, ICTS at DRRMS, at isang bureau, BLSS. At higit pa dyan, mayroon pa tayong Education Facilities Division na pinangungunahan naman ni Engineer Annabel Pangan, at mayroon din 2 division o 2 assistant division chief na nasa ilalim niyan, si Engineer Bobot at saka si Engineer Marge. Ngayong araw na ito, ang kausap natin, o ngayong session na ito, ang kausap natin ay yung Education Facilities Division. Bukod dyan, meron pa tayong Baguio Teachers Camp at yung Central Security and Safety Office sa operational aspect. So ito ang mga opisina na nasa Central Office na nasa ilalim ng tinatawag nating OUA o Administran, Office of the Undersecretary for Administration. Ngayon, 2021, isinagawa uli natin itong SIPAG. Supposed to be, ito ay taon-taon natin gagawin. So, balit nung nakaraang taon, noong 2020, inabutan tayo ng pandemic ng COVID. Kaya sana February yan o March yan, katulad din ngayon na oras o itong time na to, hindi natin natuloy dahil nga nagkaroon ng pandemic. So sinikap namin na kahit na walang SIPAG nung nakaraang taon, ay may coordinate pa rin ang iba't ibang mga programs ng ating strand sa pamamagitan na ng mga virtual conferences. Pero ngayong taon na to, minabuti natin na magsagawa uli ng isang SIPAG, pero ito na nga ay Strand Interface on Programs and Guidelines. Noong 2019 kasi, kasama natin dito ang Finance Strand. Kasama natin si Yusek Ann Sibilia at lahat ng kanyang mga opisina. At yan ay nagtipon-tipon nga tayo noon sa Subic. Ngayon, uunahin natin yung administrand. Subalit sa pagtapos ng ilang mga sessions natin, may isasama natin hindi lang ang financial strand o si Yusek Sibilia, kundi yung iba rin mga miyembro ng Executive Committee ng DepEd. No, lahat ng Yusek at ng AXEC ay makikita natin at makikihalubilo sa ating virtual assembly sa huling araw ng ating series of virtual sessions. Kaya ngayon, Ito ay interface, supposed to be, magkikita-kita tayo, yung regional division at ilang mga coordinators sa field sa isang lugar, pero ngayon ay hindi pwede yan dahil sa pandemic. So ginawa natin ang ating interface na virtual o sabihin natin na via internet at via online networks. Kaya ito tayo ngayon. Ang mahalagang tunguhin natin ngayong araw na ito o ngayong session na ito ay may paliwanag ang mga programa na isa sa katuparan ng bawat opisina ng administran. Itong particular na session na ito ay Education Facilities Division ang makakausap natin. Ilalabas nila ang programa sa school building program, sa Gabaldon Restoration Program, sa mga school furnitures program, repairs, at iba pang mga programa sa ilalim ng Education Facilities Division. At inaasahan natin na habang nagpapaliwanag sila, ang ating mga coordinators, ang ating mga engineers at ang mga architects na nasa region at saka sa nasa division ay makikinig at makikita kung paano isasakatuparan ang mga programang ito. How do we effectively implement these programs and how do we monitor them in the implementation. Itong ating mga principals, school heads at mga property custodians na inimbita rin natin ngayong araw na ito ay makikinig din para makita nila kung paano isasakatuparan ang mga proyektong ito. Ganun din ay inimbitahan natin ang ating iba't ibang mga regional directors, mga assistant regional directors, mga schools division superintendents, mga assistant schools division superintendents, yung ating mga ESSD at SGOD chiefs ay naririto rin ngayon at humigit kumulang mahigit 5,000 sa atin ngayon ang nakikinig nationwide through different channels. May iba na ang nasa atin ay nasa Microsoft Teams, yun iba naman ay nasa Facebook streaming. Kung kaya't sa ngayong oras na ito, binigyan ako ng bagong datos na ang nasa Facebook natin, sa Facebook Live, ang nanonood dito ay humigit kumulang 8,500 na. At yung nandito sa ating Zoom ay mga 400 na katao na. So umabot tayo ng mga close to 9,000 sa ating online session ngayon. Ito po ay araw-araw na session. May session sa umaga, may session sa hapon. At iba-ibang mga opisina ang nag-i-explain. Iniimbitahan natin dito yung mga concerned officials sa region, sa division, sa school, at kahit na ang mga teachers natin at yung mga estudyante na may interest na makita kung paano ang mga programa ng ating strand at paano ito i-implement. Kaya't maaring ngayong umaga, engineers, architects, principals, property custodians, yung ating kausap. Subalit pwede pa rin silang manood mamayang hapon kung ang pag-uusapan naman natin ay tungkol sa CAS Division at saka sa Records Division. Bukas, ang pag-uusapan sa umaga ay tungkol sa IT o sa ICT, Information and Communication Technology. Nandiyan yung ICTS. Sa hapon naman ay yung sports, yung School Sports Division. Kaya't mamaya ay ipapadala din namin o ipa-plus natin sa ating mga viewers kung ano yung schedule ng buong SIPAG. Magmula ngayong Lunes hanggang sa Miyerkules sa susunod na linggo. Araw-araw po yan. Ang wala lang tayo ay sa February 25 dahil yon ay holiday at sa Sabado at Linggo. Kung kaya't magmula Lunes, Martes, Miyerkules, Friday, tapos Lunes ulit, Martes, and Miyerkules, lahat po yan ay kabibilangan ng tinatawag nating SIPAG 2021. Kaya't Huwag ho kayong umalis sa pakikinig at papanood. At kung sana ay mapuntahan nyo o mapakinggan nyo ang lahat ng programa natin, hindi lamang ngayong araw na to o ngayong session na to, kung hindi lahat ng session, mayroon tayong dialogue with Exicom official sa Miyerkules, sa susunod na linggo. Meron din pag-uusap tungkol sa DepEd TV at iba't iba pang mga special concerns. Kung mayroon po kayong mga tanong, mayroon kayong concern, mayroon kayong gustong sabihin sa amin, ilagay nyo lang po yan sa mga comments sa inyong sa ilalim ng ating Facebook live streaming channel at iyan ay makakarating sa atin at tatanungin niya ng ating host, tatanungin niya ng ating mga organizer at sisikapin po nating sagutin yan. Kung hindi man po natin masagot ang inyong mga tanong, sa mga ibang mga Exicom members sa susunod na linggo, ipaparating pa rin natin yung mga tanong na yan o mga query. Kung kaya't habang nag-i-explain po tayo rito ng program at ng ating mga project, ilista nyo na ho lahat kung ano ang gusto nyong itanong, kung ano ang gusto nyong i-clarify, anong mga nangyayari sa school level o sa ground level na hindi nakikita sa central office, sa region o kaya sa division. At sisikapin po nating i-address lahat yan. Pakinggan muna natin ang iba't ibang mga opisina sa ilalim ng administran upang sa ganun ay makita nyo yung kanilang mga programa para sa 2021 at kasama na rin dyan yung hindi na ipatupad noong 2020. Kaya't yan po yung mga gusto natin talakayin. Una, tatalakayin nila yung priority programs for 2021. Tatalakayin din nila yung mga naudlot na programa noong 2020. Tatalakayin din po natin kung ano yung panukala natin para sa 2022 budgets. O, yan yung nakikita natin tatlo. At yung pang-apat dyan, kung ano yung mga concerns, ano yung mga clarifications, policy recommendations, o iba pang mga programa na pwede nating i-implement sa mga eskwelahan natin, sa mga darating pang mga taon. Yan po yung mga apat na bahagi na i-explain ng bawat opisina at bawat bureau, service o division na nasa ilalim ng administran. Kaya makinig po tayo lahat, magsulat nyo na lang kaagad ang inyong mga query at ipadala sa atin. Yan po yung tinatawag natin interface. So yung strand interface sa programa at sa mga patakaran o mga guidelines ay kinakailangan nating i-discuss dito sa national level, papunta sa region, papunta sa division, hanggang sa eskwelahan. At ito ay ginagawa natin para na rin sa preparasyon natin kung magkakaroon na rin tayo ng face-to-face class interaction sa mga susunod na araw o buwan kapag ito ay inaprobahan na ng Pangulong Duterte at ng ating kalihim na si Leonor Magtolis Briones. So, stay tuned at makinig po tayo lahat. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Pasco. At tunay nga na sinabi ni Yusek Pasco na ito hindi lamang basta programa. Ito ay programa para sa ating lahat upang sama-sama nating maabot ang layunin ng kagawaran ng edukasyon. Kaya naman, sa mga kasama natin at magiging kasama pa natin sa programang ito po ay para sa inyo. Sama-sama nating isa puso, isa isip at isa gawa ang anumang mga impormasyon o mga detalyeng ating makakalap mula sa SIPAG 2021. At ngayon naman, tayo ay makinig sa isang mensahe mula sa ating kagalang-galang na kalihim ng kagawaran ng edukasyon, Secretary Leonor Magtolis Briones.
Leonor Magtolis Briones, a passionate educator, an adventurous writer, a gender advocate, a faithful servant of God, a trusted public servant, and a loving mother. She had her education at Silliman University in 1958, obtaining a bachelor's degree in business administration, majoring in accounting, and obtained magna cum laude at the early age of 17. She obtained her master's degree in public administration from the University of the Philippines and postgraduate diploma in development administration from Leeds University in England. She was also conferred Doctor of Public Administration honoris causa by the Central Philippine University in 2014. Liling has also been an achiever, as she was awarded with distinction from Leeds University, England, and obtained certificates in Policy in Public Enterprise from Harvard Institute for International Development, Harvard University, and Innovations in Governance from the John F. Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University, Massachusetts. She also accepted the UP presidency nomination in 2010 that was initiated by the National College of Public Administration and Governance students and was supported by more than 1,000 people coming from the faculty and alumni through signature campaigns. Later on, she ventured into public service as secretary to the Commission on Audit and served as the National Treasurer of the Philippines. She also pursued her life's advocacies, including fighting for social justice. As an established leader, she headed the Freedom from Debt Coalition. Briones was also a gender advocate who raised the level of discourse to address the plight of women. As a passionate advocate for social justice, she addressed the United Nations General Assembly in September 2005. In front of an international delegation, she bravely uttered to them, "Fulfill your promises, as the poor cannot wait for too long." She also became a party list nominee to the Congress under the banner of Kaakbay Party in 2012, which advocated for social reforms. She also served as a prominent petitioner of several non-government organizations and individuals which questioned the constitutionality of the disbursement acceleration program of the previous administration. Secretary Liling has spent most of her life as an educator. Whenever or wherever she delivered a public lecture, she taught like a teacher in a classroom. She became a researcher and professor at the University of the Philippines for over 50 years and was later conferred as Professor Emeritus in 2013 for her outstanding achievement inside and outside the university. A natural lover of music, she is also a member of the Manila Concert Choir and is currently serving as its president. With her invaluable success and journey as a leader and educator, she embraced public service and accepted the challenge to become the Secretary of the Department of Education of the Duterte administration. One of her greatest contributions to DepEd is the installation of reforms in the education system through the launch of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to innovate Philippine education. Recently, she launched 2 books that depicted her life as an accomplished public servant and author. The first one was her biography, Faith, Duty, and Country, written by her friend and confidant for nearly 55 years, Dr. Proserpina Chit Domingo Tapales, a former dean of SIPAG, on her journey from being a poor girl from Dihulngan, Negros Oriental, up to being a public servant and advocate of education for all. Her second book, Boiled Green Bananas, is a compilation of her columns published in the Business Mirror from 2006 to 2016. To quote her supporters, "There is no shadow of doubt on Briones' probity and integrity." And until today, throughout her 80 years of experience, she shows how a true servant leader should be: ethical, dignified, and responsible.
Good day, everyone. Good day to very important members of the DepEd family who contribute to the attainment of the goals of our department. Congratulations for this initiative, for this webinar, wherein we are informing each other about DepEd programs, projects, and activities for 2021 so that we can avoid miscommunication, misunderstanding, and we can coordinate our activities. I understand that this batch is attended by the regional directors. They are aware on practically a weekly basis of what is happening. ARDs, SDSs, CI chiefs, SGOD chiefs, the engineers, as we go down the line, the medical officers, the cashiers, the record officers, the supply officers, the IT officers, youth coordinators, BAEC members, school heads, teachers, DRR coordinators, information officers, and teacher broadcasters. These are the officials and family members whom we want to provide with a clearer understanding of our current programs, projects, and activities for 2021. After all, the attainment of these goals, these programs, projects, and activities will largely depend on the cooperation, on the teamwork, and on the hard work that all of you are going to contribute. There is a great need to provide synchronized instructions to field implementers. We need to understand one another's role in the BALCP implementation, which is a vast undertaking. And we would like to issue a call for united efforts in addressing the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Every day, every morning, every night, there is a new aspect of the COVID pandemic that emerges and demands our attention and our hard work, of course. Therefore, it is very important that we unify all our efforts, that we harmonize all our activities, especially since our staff, those who are working, are limited in numbers compared to the enormity of what is expected to be accomplished by them down the line. Like our engineers, our medical officers, our cashiers, our record officers, supply officers, IT officers, youth coordinators, back members, school heads, teachers, DRR coordinators, information officers, and our teacher broadcasters. I wish you a good session. I wish you better understanding and more clarity on what we aim to achieve in 2021, which we can consider as the last mile in DepEd's program of activities. Because after 2021, I doubt very much if there will be the expected attention that we usually get as the largest department of this government. By then, after 2021, our lawmakers, our fellow members of the executive branch, and all other entities of government will be busy and engrossed with the 2022 elections. So we have only 1 year, and we can only achieve our programs, our projects, and activities if we harmonize them, if we work together, if each of us, each unit, each individual contributes to the attainment of such programs, projects, and activities. Maraming salamat, magandang umaga, magandang araw sa ating lahat. Have a good and rewarding webinar.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Briones, for that message. At this point, we will now proceed to one of the most important parts of the conference this morning. And this is the presentation prepared by the Education Facilities Division. At para sa kaalaman ng lahat, the office presentation focuses on the following areas. Number 1, brief introduction about the office. Number 2, 2020 continuing programs, projects, and activities. Number 3, 2021 PPAs. Number 4, general instructions for PPA implementation and timeline. And number 5, Bayanihan 3 proposed activities. At this moment, it's my honor to introduce to you our first speaker to give us a glimpse of the report for EFD. Engineer Annabel R. Pangan graduated from University of Sydney class of 2011 with Masters in Project Management, and Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila class of 2005 with Masters in Construction Management, and at the Asian Institute of Management with Leadership and Management Program. She handles at most, ito lang naman, 700 plus engineers and architects in the central and field offices. Ma'am Bell, as we call her, is dedicated to her work as Chief of EFD. She is the first one to arrive at the office even before the 7 a.m. shift and accomplishes her tasks before the day ends. Here she is, the Chief of Education Facilities, Engineer Annabel R. Pangan.
Thank you to our host, and good morning po sa inyong lahat. Lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga kasama na narito ngayon sa ating Zoom. Our regional and division engineers, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And we'd also like to say good morning to our ESSD chiefs, SGOD chiefs, at lalong-lalo na po yung mga ating school heads ng mga recipients ng ating mga various programs and projects na minamanage at ini-implement po ng Education Facilities Division. So katulad po ng nabanggit kanina ni Yusek Alain, I will be discussing with you the updates on the various programs and projects na ini-implement natin, together with our plans for 2022 and some of the latest issuances and policies po regarding our school facilities. Okay? So we will provide you with updates on the Basic Education Facilities Fund. Ito po yung ating major program. Our Gabaldon Heritage School Building Program, our Last Mile Schools Program, Quick Response Fund, and the construction and repair of DepEd regional, central, and division offices. Okay? So ito po ang mga i-discuss natin ngayong umaga. So we will present to you the status of the 2019 and 2020 programs as of February 2021, the plans and activities and programs for 2021, our proposal for 2022 budget, and updates on the various policies and directives. So let me start po sa ating status of our 2019 and 2020 funds as of February 2021. So, the reports po na makikita ninyo, yung ating mga succeeding slides, ay based on the latest report po na nagather ng ating Education Program Delivery Unit under the USEC for Finance or USEC Ancivilla. Okay? So, makikita nyo po sa inyong screen ngayon ang status ng obligation of disbursements for the various programs na ini-implement po natin. So, yung unang table po na makikita ninyo are the 2019 funds. So, for BAFF, we are at 98% obligation and 74% disbursement. For Gabaldon, out of the 2 billion and 60 million na allotment natin for 2019, we have obligated 98% of that funds and 84% were already disbursed. For the QRF, we have obligated 99.20% and disbursed 77.77%. So for your information, lahat po ng ating 2019 funds ngayon ay naglaps na po as of December of 2020. So later on, ipapakita po natin yung disaggregation ng data na ito by region so that you will have an idea on the status of your regions. Okay, for 2020, so we have our BFF. Out of the 8.5 billion that we have downloaded to the different implementing units po, nandiyan po ang region and division offices natin, 86% of these funds were already obligated, while 25% of this has been disbursed as of the date. For the Gabaldon, 372 million were downloaded already and 85% were obligated, and only 6% were disbursed. For the QRF, we have downloaded 1.9 billion and obligated to date is 94.94% and 44% were already disbursed. So, ang pagkakaiba po nito sa ating 2019 funds is that 2020 funds are still valid for obligation hanggang katapusan po ng taong ito or until December 2021. Okay? So, the next 6 slides that I will show is the disaggregation po by division, by region, I mean, for the 2019 and 2020 various programs and projects po na minention ko. Okay? For the BFF 2019, ang BFF 2019 po natin composed of the repairs, electrification program, and the school furniture program na i-download po namin sa mga regions and divisions for implementation. So makita po natin, ito po ay nakarank according to the highest obligation, and nakita natin dito region 4A or Calabarzon has the highest obligation for BFF 2019. Okay? So, hindi ko na po isa-isahin. Please check na lang po your status. Ang gusto ko pong i-highlight dito sa slide na to is the unobligated funds. So, we want our regions and divisions to verify if these funds have already really lapsed na po talaga or hindi lang po na i-report pa sa ating EPDU. So, mainam po sana na maihabol pa natin sa reporting itong 2019 na obligations po natin para mas maging maganda yung performance natin for the year-end report for the BFF 2019. Okay? For the Gabaldon 2019, so ang highest na obligation po natin is Region 9 at 100% obligation rate. Okay? So, ang gusto ko pong i-highlight again dito, itong mga naka-red, na given that the Gabaldon budget has already lapsed last December po, so we would like to ask our regional engineers to double-check the numbers. Baka naman po ay obligated na ito at hindi pa lang din na-report sa ating EPDU. Kasi malaki-laki din po itong amount na itong hindi pa natin na-obligates. That's 22 million. Okay? For the Quick Response Fund 2019, so the total obligations, Western Visayas and Eastern Visayas are at 100%. So, ang may malaking balanse po na we want also the regions to determine if this has already lapsed talaga is the Central Visayas, Region 7, may 706,000 silang natira. Bicol Region has 8.6 budget na nag-lapse po ba ito. And the Cordillera Administrative Region, we have 6.9 million na please also check po kung nag-lapse din po itong budget na ito. Okay? So these are the details of our 2019 funds. So let me proceed with our 2020 BFF. So for our 20 BFF, the highest obligation rate ay, again, Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula. Congratulations po. So the rest are pwede pa po tayong humabol ng obligation hanggang December of 2021. Pero mamaya po ipapakita natin na hindi po pwede na by December 31 pa po kayo mag-obligate. Kailangan po ay maihabol nyo sana ito for obligation within the first quarter of the year. Okay? So, highlighted in red po yung mabababa pa yung obligation natin for BFF 2020. So, we have Davao Region, Ilocos Region, CAR, and Calabarzon. So, please double check po, baka hindi lang din po na-update sa ating EPDU. Okay? For the Gabaldon 2020, okay? So, ito po, halos karamihan ay naka-obligate na with the Eastern Visayas, Western Visayas, and Cagayan Valley. Please check. Zero obligation po to date. Paki-double check nyo po ito sa inyong reporting. Next is the Quick Response Fund. So, ito po yung mga naging recipients ng ating program under the 2020 funds. We have Calabarzon, Zamboanga, Caraga, CAR, Eastern Visayas, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, and Region 2. Okay? So, although most of them has already obligated more than 90% of their funds, makikita po natin na merong mga regions na malaki pa rin yung unobligated nila. So, we'd like to call on the attention of these regions. So, CAR, 3 million. Eastern Visayas or Region 8 is 8 million. Mimaropa, 6 million. Region 5. Habol po natin ito dahil napaka-importante ng budget na ito para sa Bicol Region. 51 million. Then Western Visayas or Region 6 is 30 million. Okay. So, katulad po ng nabanggit ko, 2019 ay lapse na. So, ang pag-uusapan na lang po natin ngayon in terms of obligation are the remaining 2020 funds. Aside also from the 2021 funds that we have to implement that I will discuss later po. No? So, to summarize, ito po yung mga natitira nating pondo for 2020 na sabi ko nga ay kailangan nating ma-obligate at magastos by the end of December of 2021. So, we have the BFF. Meron pa tayong 1.17 billion na already downloaded na po sa inyo, pero hindi pa po na-report for obligations. Meron pa po tayong hinihintay sa BFF, which is 500 million for our electrification program. And according to Yusek Alain, yung update po ni Yusek Alain sa atin is that this was already approved for release by the Office of the President dahil naka-conditional po ito sa ating GAA 2020. So, we are just waiting for the official release of the SARO for these projects from DBM. For the Gabaldon project, meron pa po tayong natitirang 52 million. Again, downloaded na rin po ito sa ating mga regions and divisions. And katulad po sa VFF, may hinihintay pa rin po tayong SARO na 616 million na, again, as updated by Yusek Alain, this was already approved by the Office of the President. Subject na po ito for release of SARO by DBM. Okay? For the QRF, okay, meron pa tayong, yung kanina pong pinakita ko na mga naka-red na mga regions, ang kabuuan po niyan ay 100.7 million na kailangan din po nating i-obligate at ma-implement within the year. And like also sa BEP and Gabaldon po natin, may hinihintay din po tayong 100 million pa na approve na rin po ni Presidente at hinihintay na lang natin yung release of SARO from the DBM. We also have the balance of 1.5 billion. So ito po ay may SARO na. At ang procurement po nito ay sa central office. This is for our last mile schools program or yung tinatawag po namin na LMS. So kabuuan po ng ating 2020 continuing funds is 4 billion, again, that we have to obligate and disburse by December of 2021. Okay? So ito po ay in terms of the financial aspect of the project. So let us proceed now with our status of the physical accomplishments. Okay? So, this is still based on our fourth quarter budget accountability report po. Makikita nyo po for new construction, by the way, ang new construction po natin ay ini-implement ng DPWH. Okay? Ito po ay minomonitor. At ang nag-a-accept po ng completion ay ang ating mga superintendents ng bawat division through the recommendation of our division engineers. So makikita niyo po dito sa slide na to, ang dami pa po nating hinahabol from the previous years. So meron pa pong mga 2014 na funds na tinatapos po ang DPWH. And makita niyo rin po na ang 2020 ay halos konti lang ang kanilang natapos. They have completed for 2020 187 new classrooms at karamihan po ay ongoing. So this is because naapektuhan po yung release natin ng budget and the implementation of the programs and project due to the limitations set by the IATF dahil po sa pandemic na ito. Okay? So, same din po with our TBL, or ito po yung mga tinatayo natin na mga workshop buildings for our senior high schools. So, for 2020, we have targeted 100 classrooms for our TBL at konti lang po ay walang natapos sa taong ito, 2020. And meron pa rin po tayong mga hinahabol na completion from DPWH from 2016 to 2019 funds. So, this is the report for the construction. So, right now na ang napopursue natin ay magluluwag na po ang sitwasyon due to this pandemic. No, we would like to ask our engineers to strengthen yung monitoring nila dito sa ating mga ongoing na mga projects ng ating mga counterparts from DPWH. Siyempre, aside po ito doon sa mga ini-implement natin sa DepEd na mga repairs and electrification program. So, next slide po, you will see the repairs naman po. So, for repairs, we still have 2018 funds na ini-implement po, no? And for 2020, katulad po nung nabanggit natin, maliit lang yung ating natapos na mga projects. Okay? Due to the pandemic. And na-delay din po kasi yung pag-issue natin ng SARO. Again, due also to the decisions na kailangan gawin due to this pandemic. So, for the Gabaldon buildings, so meron pa rin po tayo from 2018 funds na dapat po nating tapusin na ito ngayong taon na to. For the electrification program, ito po yung mga upgrading and electrification ng ating mga unenergized schools. So, tama po ba, mga engineers, yung report natin na meron pa tayong mga 2017 na mga projects na hindi pa natatapos? Or as of December, we're already completed na po. So, ang tinitingnan na lang natin ay 2018 to 2020 na mga continuing projects for 2021. Okay po. So, in terms of the school furniture, Ayan, dito may mga delay din po tayo dahil yung mga naghigpit po sa mga munisipyo, yung mga naapektuhan po na yung mga deliveries natin ng mga school furniture last year. And itong mga ini-implement natin na mga balance, I think ito yung may mga projects na ini-implement ng mga PWDs, kaya po nagkakaroon tayo ng delays. So, we still have 2016 funds na kailangan po nating ma-deliver at ma-disburse din po within the year. For the Quick Response Fund, so may mga konting natitira pa tayong projects from 2018. So, 19 projects are still ongoing from 2018 funds. And for the Last Mile School Program, ito po yung isang backlog din po natin na kailangan nating habulin for this year na makomplete po ang lahat ng mga projects natin for the Last Mile Schools Program. So, ito po yung unang part ng ating presentation or discussion, the status of our physical and financial accomplishments for our various programs and projects. So, let me proceed now to our plans and activities for 2021. Okay? So, this is our budget summary po for 2021. Ito po yung na-approve na budget sa atin under the 2021 GAA. So, we have the BEFF, 11.16 billion. Last Mile Schools Program, 1.5 billion. Quick Response Fund is 2 billion. Gabaldon is 383 million, or a total of 30.9 billion na kailangang ma-obligate at ma-disburse po natin ngayong taon nito dahil cash-based budgeting po tayo. So kung i-add po natin yung ating continuing from 2020, magkakaroon po tayo ng kabuuan ng magkano sa ating mga nakikinig. So that will be a total of 35 billion pesos that we have to obligate, complete, and disbursed by the end of the year 2021. Okay, so for information lang po ng ating mga manonood, okay, there are 2 agencies po involved in the implementation of the 2021 Basic Education Facilities Fund. Okay? So, yung 2 billion po or 2.9 billion, 26% po ang kabuuan nun sa ating 11.16 na BEFF project ay i-implement po ito ng DPWH. Okay? And the remaining 8%, 8 billion will be implemented by DepEd. So, dito po sa succeeding slide ay makikita nyo po yung mga detalye kung anong mga proyekto po yung mga ni-implement ng DepEd at ini-implement ng DPWH. Okay? So, ito yung gusto ko pong i-highlight sa inyo. So, makikita po natin ito yung validity ng ating pondo. So, for 2019, while ang pondo po natin ay nag-lapse na ng December 31 of 2020, pero yung disbursement po nito ay pwede pa po hanggang December of 2021. Therefore, ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? Kailangang mabayaran, mabayaran at ma-accept yung ating mga projects ng 2019 by December of 2021. Okay? The next slide, ito po yung Bayanihan Act 2, wala naman po tayong projects na ini-implement under the Bayanihan 2 funds sa ngayon. For the 2020 and the 2021 GAA, so nandito po tayo sa infrastructure, capital outlay, yung third row po. So makikita nyo po na ito yung mga budget, validity ng ating budget is by December of 2021, both obligation and disbursement. Okay? So, in summary po, ang pinag-usapan natin, yung mga 2019 hanggang 2021 na pondo ay kailangan ma-disburse o mabayaran natin lahat ng mga projects po by the end of December of 2021. So, ito po yung references or naging basehan po nung ating slides na previously pinakita on the validity of budget. For 2019 funds, we have Section 3.5 of the National Budget Call or Budget Circular, number 578. And then for 2020, GAA, we have the National Budget Circular, Section 3.6. Then 2021 GAA po is Section 3.3 of the National Budget Circular, number 583. Okay, so with respect po to the actions that we have to do in order to have these projects, lalo na po yung mga 2021 projects natin ay ma-disburse natin by the end of the year. So for the construction of the school buildings, our management have decided that due to the limited funds, we are going to prioritize po yung mga completion of the remaining incomplete projects of the PWH. For the repair of the school buildings, we again have to review the outputs po. Ito yung mga na-recommend ng ating mga engineers during the workshop that we have in Cavite last year before the pandemic, when we finalized our budget proposal for 2021. Pero given the situations na nangyayari po in 2020, lalo na po yung mga calamities, we have reviewed yung ating mga policies and designs for the repairs ng mga school buildings na ginagawa natin. And kailangan pong baguhin yung iba dito, lalong-lalo na po the manner that we are repairing the roofing system of our existing school buildings. So, lahat po ito ay in-update natin, and mamaya po sa ating discussion on the policies, we will present to you the revised repair parameters for the school buildings. For the school furniture, last year po ay na-realign yung budget natin sa Bayanihan Funds. So, ngayon naman taon na ito ay bumaba po yung ating budget as compared from last year. So, meaning po, supposedly, ang action sana natin dito ay lahat ng na-realign sa Bayanihan last year will be covered in 2021. But since the budget was reduced drastically po sa ating school furniture program, we have to reprioritize our list and have the completed BFF school buildings to be completed. Na-completed na po ang mabigyan natin ng ating school furniture. For the restoration of the Gabaldon program, we have to align our programs, yung mga priority programs po natin na particularly those na naapektuhan po ng calamities na mga Gabaldon school buildings that will be prioritized for this year, 2021, na ating mga restoration efforts. Naka-align po dapat din ito sa ating implementing rules and regulations of the Gabaldon restoration. For the quick response fund, we also have to review the programming for the repair and reconstruction of school buildings to consider yung cost effectiveness o long-term benefits of repairing damaged structure. Then next is determining other possible interventions for the design of the reaping to include its effect to the overall existing building structure, and check duplication of rehabilitation or reconstruction efforts from other agencies and non-governmental organizations or from other fund source para po maiwasan na natin yung mga realignments or modifications of projects. Okay, so ano na po yung mga nagawa nating actions for our 2021 programs? For the repair of our school buildings, so mamaya po maipapakita ko sa inyo yung preview ng approved revised parameters natin for the design of the school building components, particularly yung roofing system po na dapat i-adapt ng ating mga engineers ngayon in the revision of their program of works for the regular repair 2021 and the quick response fund for 2021. For the quick response fund, while we have the 2 billion budget already available, the decision of the management is to have it as standby fund. So yung mga kabuang requirement natin from the previous years na hindi pa po natin napopondohan, na i-request na po natin iyon for fund augmentation from CARED funds for the earthquake-stricken na mga school buildings po natin in Mindanao, and the available and DRRMS funds. So we hope na mag-grant po nila yung request natin for the release of these funds. Para po yung 2021 funds natin will only be a standby funds for those calamities that will happen this quarter or the whole year 2021. Katulad po ng nangyayari ngayon sa Mindanao, merong mga areas na po tayo na mga binaha dahil sa bagyo, and probably itong mga schools na to ay mapunta po sa mai-priority natin sa ating standby fund for 2021. For the Last Mile Schools program for 2021, nailabas na rin po natin ito for submission and issuance ng SARO, and we have issued, or the Secretary has already approved the Department Order Number 6 Series of 2021, which is the revised MPSS or Minimum Performance Standard Specifications for our school buildings na gagamitin po natin in the implementation of the Last Mile Schools program. And in coordination with the Office of ASEC Malana, we are finalizing right now the procurement of these projects. For the completion of the school buildings to be implemented by DPWH, ito po ay na-endorse na natin sa DPWH, and we are waiting for them to confirm the list and the scope of works that needed to be completed under the 2021 program. So, we'd like to ask our counterparts sa regions and divisions, mga engineers, to have this item po, itong mga completion projects ng DPWH, na paki-follow up natin ito sa kanila. So, because we have a deadline for the submission of our 2021 projects. As per GAA, we have to submit all these by March 31 of 2021 sa DBM, the Office of the Senate and Congress, and the Office of the President. For the school furniture program, so nailabas na rin po natin ito, yung for request for SARO. And we have already completed the requirements for the procurement, dahil po ang procurement nito ay gagawin sa central office. And we are working again with the Office of the ASEC Malana, our Assistant Secretary for Procurement, for the timely procurement of this project. Okay. So, activities for 2021. So, right now we are finalizing po the listings as I've mentioned, lalong-lalo na po itong repair na kailangan nating i-update yung ating mga program of works. And once we have updated this, we will schedule the orientation of the Bids and Awards Committees for the implementation of our 2021 BEFF and Gabaldon projects. Okay? Katulad po ito ng mga ginagawa natin previous years na nag-early procurement po supposedly tayo, pero ngayon ay wala tayong nagawang early procurement last November due to the pandemic. Okay? For the ito po, procurement of BEP and Gabaldon for 2021, we have to ensure the procurement activities are completed before the release of SARO for all projects. So, ang target timeline po natin sana dito ay March and April of 2021, and the actual implementation is to ensure the completion and payments of all projects by the end of December 2021 is from April to November of 2021 po. Yan. We are also targeting to have the orientation of the school heads of the recipients po ng ating 2020 and 2021 Last Mile Schools program. We are finalizing po the materials for this activity with USEC Alain, and we hope to have this conducted by May of 2021. Itong preparation of budget proposals for 2022, ito po usually mga engineers ang ginagawa natin starting January sana of the current year, but due to pandemic, hindi tayo magkita-kita. Kaya mamaya po ay bibigyan na lang namin kayo ng instructions for the preparation of your budget proposals for 2022 using the revised or updated parameters po natin. Because you have to have this completed by the end of March 2021. Okay, mid-year performance and assessment reviews. Kung hindi po tayo magkita-kita, hindi pa tayo pwedeng magkita-kita, ay magkakaroon po tayo ng online activity regarding this, including the capacity building of engineers, the orientation on the conduct of early procurement for 2022 projects. So hopefully magawa po natin yan by November, face-to-face na kung pwede. And of course, our year-end national convention ay sana po ay magkita-kita na tayo sa December of 2021. Okay. Malapit-lapit na. Plans and proposals for 2022. Okay? So for 2022 budget proposal for the Basic Education Facilities Fund, Gabaldon Last Mile Schools Program, and other infra projects of the department. Ibigay ko lang po sa inyo itong mga dokumento na ito kung saan naka-anchor po yung ating mga proposals for 2022. So last year, through the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, si USEC Alain, meron po tayong mga na-issue na mga aid manuals on physical facilities. So, number 1, we have the urgent need to repair and replace ceilings of school buildings constructed from 2014 to 2019. Ito po yung mga na-encounter natin na yung mga buildings na ginagawa or natapos ng DPWH ay kahit walang kalamidad na nangyayari ay bigla na lang bumabagsak po yung mga ceilings. So, ang gusto po natin ito ay ma-address agad through the intervention na kailangan gawin or i-repair yung mga ceilings na to para po wala nang ma-aksidente pa or mamatay pa sa pagbagsak ng mga ceilings po na ito. The next one is the urgent need to repair and replace calamity damages, related damages. So dito po sa aid memo na to, dinidiscuss po yung lahat ng mga calamities na nangyari sa atin mula po nung mag-start itong management na ito in 2016 and after 2020 na hindi pa rin po na-address or napopondohan yung ating mga requirement na ito. So dito po sa aid memo na to, diniscuss natin yung the importance of having these school buildings repaired or reconstructed. No, right now, from this aid memo, ang kabuuan po ng unfunded natin na mga calamity damages ay 15 billion. Pero sa ngayon po, ang updated na natin na data is 20 billion already. Na kailangan po nating i-source out yon kung saan po natin pwedeng ma-augment yung pondo na kailangan po natin to reconstruct or repair these facilities. The third aid memo is the prioritizing health-related requirements for the safe return of schools and offices. This is the infra part po, no? Na dito naman po, in-highlight natin yung ating mga requirement for Watson facilities sa ating mga schools and the provision of water system to schools without existing water systems. Okay? Ito po yung katapat natin sa ating mga efforts ng ating mga health personnel in order to provide safe and secure health facilities po sa schools natin once na magkaroon na po ng face-to-face or bumalik na po yung ating mga estudyante sa ating mga eskwelahan. Next, aid memoir is the completion of the construction of abandoned and incomplete na mga school buildings. So dito po i-discuss natin yung mga different na projects na ano yung mga naging rason, bakit po naging incomplete or abandoned yung mga projects na ginagawa ng ating mga partners from DPWH. At ito rin po, dito rin sinabi natin kung gaano karami yon at gaano kalaki ang financial requirements para po ma-address natin at maisara natin itong mga completion ng mga projects na ito. Next slide is, next aid memoir is the acceleration of the implementation of the school building program. Ito po ay dahil sa epekto ng biglang pagbaba or pagbagsak ng ating budget sa new construction, ay madami pa po, lalong dumami yung ating mga requirements pa for new construction para ma-address po yung mga current shortage for classrooms ng ating mga schools. Number 6 is the completing the 5-year cycle of repair and rehabilitation of school buildings. 7 is the conservation and restoration of Gabaldon and other heritage school buildings. Next is the completion of the first phase of the solar and electrification program for schools. Tinawag po nating first phase yung 2,414 na mga schools na na-establish natin in 2014 dahil sila po yung mga walang connection pa sa electricity at that time of survey. Next is the school furniture 8-year replacement program. And lastly is the cause of damages to school facilities and our initial recommendation. So, kung wala po kayong copy ng mga aid memoirs na ito, we will provide you a copy para po magkaroon din po kayo ng kabuuan ng idea o perspektibo kung saan po tayo nanggagaling sa ating mga hinihinging budget sa Congress, Senate during the budget hearing session po natin every year. Okay? So, this is actually based on those documents na na-mention ko po, this is the actual scenario of our school facilities nationwide. So, the analysis of the 2019 National School Building Inventory and the latest enrollment data and using the standard parameters po natin, pinapakita po dito na meron pa tayong 124,000 classrooms na kailangan nating itayo upang ma-meet po natin yung 1 classroom is to 30 na student ratio. Meron pa po tayong kabuuan na 163,728 na mga school buildings na kailangan po nating i-repair para mas mapakinabangan po as maging conducive to learning ng ating mga learners. Then 3,861 schools remain to be not connected to any available water source. And 7,704 hand washing facilities ang kailangan po nating itayo pa para ma-meet po natin yung ratio na 1 hand washing is to 50 student ratio. Then 98,963 repairs of existing hand washing to ensure po na pagbalik ng ating mga estudyante sa ating mga eskwelahan ay functional na po itong mga ito. 56,769 toilet facilities are still needed po to meet the toilet seat po natin na 1:50 ratio. Then 1,757 schools po natin ay hindi pa konektado sa kuryente. At yung ating school seats po ay kailangan nating mapalitan na, magkaroon ng replacement program upang makasunod po tayo doon sa batas na entitled the Neutral Desk Law, kung saan po ang papalitan na po natin lahat ng ating mga existing armchairs ng neutral desk na tinatawag po. 20,359 school clinics has to be constructed. Ito po yung objective sana natin na magkaroon ng one clinic for every school. Then 13,573 school clinics needs to be repaired and upgraded. So further, there are damages brought by various calamities from the previous years na ito po yung na-mention ko kanina na talagang ang laki po ng mga damages na ito na ginawa sa ating mga school facilities. At lahat po ito ay remains na or nananatiling hindi pa napopondohan hanggang ngayon. We have the repair and damage ceilings of school buildings worth 11 billion and the repair and replacement of earthquake, volcanic eruptions, and typhoon damaged school buildings na katulad nga po ng na-mention ko sa inyo ay nasa 20.1 billion na po yan. Okay, so last year po, yung mga monitoring na ginawa namin ni USEC, nakita natin na talagang kailangan po tayong magtayo ng mga access buildings sa ating mga schools para po yung mga schools na walang mga existing na multi-story buildings ay magkaroon sila ng mga mapagtataguan ng kanilang mga equipment or gamit na mas mataas or nasa second story po so that during flooding or in times of calamities ay naka-safety po yung ating mga equipment sa ating mga schools like yung mga ICT equipment and textbooks dun sa mga multi-story buildings po natin at hindi sila maapektuhan or ma-damage ng baha. Based on our records and reports from the engineers po, ang kabuuan po nitong mga schools na to is 3,834 schools nationwide that are flood-prone at wala po silang mga existing na multi-story buildings. Okay? Next, itong Gabaldon program din po natin, bumaba rin po ang pondo natin from the usual 2 billion that we have is naging 383 million na lang po ang budget natin for 2021. Kaya po meron pa tayong balanse na mga 819 na Gabaldon school buildings na kailangan nating ma-restore pa in accordance to RA 11194 or yung restoration of the Gabaldon school buildings. In the same manner, we also have to do preventive maintenance naman po dun sa mga natapos na natin na mga Gabaldon buildings para po ma-prolong naman natin yung restoration na ginawa natin at ma-safety natin yung ating mga investments na ginawa dito sa ating mga schools na or school buildings na ito. Okay, lastly, ayan, marami po ang magre-request nito. Actually, marami na po ang mga naka-line up sa amin ng mga requests for the construction, repair, and rehabilitation of their regional and division offices, last year, we have proposed this budget, pero wala pong na-approve sa atin last year. For this year, so we are appealing po, we have included this in our budget proposal for 2022. So aside from the 109 na regional and division offices po na may mga request sa atin for the construction or repair, we are also prioritizing under this fund po yung 3 teachers camp po natin. We have the Baguio Teachers Camp, the one in Bagabag Teachers Camp, and recently, na ina-identify po natin na another future teachers camp po natin sa CAR in Kalinga. So, we also have to do some major repairs po and retrofitting sa central office. So, in summary, ito po yung kabuang budget proposal natin na na-present na natin sa ating budget committee ng central office. This is 519 billion for the basic education facilities fund, 3.69 billion for the Gabaldon, yung calamity repair and reconstruction fund, 20 billion, quick response fund, 4 billion, last mile school program, 94 billion, and the construction repair rehab of DepEd region and central offices is 4 billion. So, pag tinotal po ninyo ito, ay 645 billion pesos. So, again, ito po yung pre-propose natin internally sa internal budget proposal muna po within DepEd, no? And hindi po natin masabi kung ito rin po yung lalabas na or i-approve sa atin ng DBM for 2022. So, the next slides po, ito po yung mga breakdown by region. Okay? So, ano po yung kailangan gawin ng mga engineers po dito? So, nakikita po ninyo yung mga regional breakdowns. Ang regional breakdowns po na to composed of the unfunded projects. So, merong mga unfunded projects sa new construction, sa repair, electrification, and school furniture. And in addition to this, ay kasama rin po dito yung mga priorities natin for 2022 based on the evaluation of our 2019 National School Building Inventory data. So, we would like to ask our regions na dito po kayo mag-peg ng inyong budget proposal for 2022 para po dito ngayon yung gagawin ng ating mga engineers na submission ng mga program of works and the list of schools that they are going to propose for the 2022 budget. Okay, next. So, directions for 2022 budget proposal, no? We have the regions and division engineer will submit their detailed budget proposal following po yung napakita ko kanina na regional breakdown. And ano po yung mga submissions na hihintayin po natin? We have the priority list of schools for each program, the program of works based on the revised repair parameters na na-issue po natin, and the 2021 Quarter 1 Construction Material Price Canvas. You also have to submit the complete detailed engineering designs and drawings and the site appraisal reports. And this should be submitted po by April 15 and end of 2021 po ito. Submission should be made on or before April 15, 2021. Okay, dahil po kailangan po ng detalye ng DBM, sinasubmit po namin sa kanila yung mga listahan ninyo at yung mga program of works na ginawa ninyo per school para maging reference po nila in the approval of our budget proposal for 2022 kasi i-check po nila yung readiness natin to implement this proposal, yung mga budget proposals po natin na yan. Again, submission po natin should be made on or before April 15, 2021. Okay? Last. So, ito na po yung ating last part is the updates on the various policies and directives. So, una ko pong gustong i-discuss sa inyo ay yung OUA Memo 0121, which is the OUA Inspection and Monitoring Team. So, dito po sa memo ni Yusek Elaine, so diniscuss po dito yung mga projects na i-cover natin for monitoring and the requirements for the region and division to also compose their own monitoring team and coordinate with the central office OUA for the conduct of this activity po, no? In the same manner that the OUA also will coordinate with our regions and division about the scheduled monitoring activities. Next is the OUA Memo 0173, which is the revised repair parameters for our school building repair and rehabilitation. So, we will provide you with a copy of the revised repair parameters para po ito yung magiging reference ninyo sa pagpa-finalize ng inyong mga program of works for our repair 2021, QRF 2021, as well as your budget proposal for 2022 repairs. Okay? We'll also like to update you. Ayan, finally, napirmahan na po ni Secretary the Department Order number 5 series of 2021 on the guidelines for the preparation of program of works for DepEd infrastructure project. So ito po yung matagal na nating hinihintay kasi ito yung hinahanap sa atin ng COA. Okay? So this is available for downloading po sa ating DepEd website. Okay, next. Department Order number 6, Series of 2021 on the reestablishment of the minimum performance and standard specifications for DepEd school buildings using the alternative construction materials. Okay, so available din po ito for downloading from our DepEd websites. Okay, for any questions or queries po or issues na dun sa mga different programs and projects na i-discuss po natin, you may email them at as.efd@deped.gov.ph or directly through my email, annabel.pangan@deped.gov.ph. Again, so yun po yung kabuuan ng ating updates na binigay po sa inyo ng Education Facilities Division ngayong umaga. So again, good morning po sa inyong lahat and thank you for listening.
Maraming salamat, Engineer Annabel R. Pangan, for giving us those information. And I know na malaking bagay ito para sa ating mga kasama ngayon dahil magiging gabay nila ito in performing their task and working with the Department of Education in its future runs. At dahil dyan, we would like to request our viewers at maging ating mga participants to please key in your questions para sa ating EFD. And without being said, at this moment, we're going to proceed now to our open forum. We hear the Chief of EFD share their efforts and initiatives to shape a more conducive educational atmosphere for all. And this time, we would like to open the virtual floor for the open forum. And this is everyone's chance to clarify some concerns and put to light important matters for discussion. And to orient us with the general flow of the forum, let us all welcome our moderator. Ang ating moderator ay ang Project Development Officer 3 ng School Sports Division, member of the Board of Directors, DepEd Cooperative at Technical Director ng Usapang DepEd Sports. Nakatapos siya ng Bachelor in Broadcast Communications mula sa Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Una siyang naging clerk sa DepEd Teacher Education Council hanggang naging Administrative Officer sa Communications Division at naging contributing writer at creative editor ng Eduk News. Naging focal person din siya sa paggawa ng DepEd Service, Marks and Visual Identity Manual at naging resource person din dito. At sabi nila, akma sa kanya ngayon ang pagiging bahagi ng School Sports Division dahil isa siyang sports enthusiast. Mahilig siyang maglaro at may kaalaman siya sa technical aspeto ng sports tulad ng basketball, tennis, chess at iba pa. Mga kaibigan at kalaro, let's have the Project Development Officer 3 of School Sports Division, Mr. Lemuel Valles.
Maraming salamat, Sir Arman, for that wonderful introduction. At this juncture, we will now entertain questions and queries from our participants on board via Zoom and, of course, our Facebook Live viewers. But before we do that, let me just orient our participants and viewers on the open forum protocols in order for us to properly consolidate all questions and for those to be addressed appropriately by the concerned official or presenter. So, ayan. So, first, questions or queries may be typed in the Zoom chat box para po sa ating mga Zoom participants and for the Facebook Live comment section para naman po sa ating Facebook Live viewers. And it should include the participant's full name, region or division, and designation or position. This should be observed in order to properly recognize the participant. Second, for Zoom participants, once he is she or recognized to speak, to verbally convey the questions or queries, the participant is required to turn on his or her camera and microphone. Kindly take note that the questions or queries to be asked verbally must be the one that was typed in the chat box. So yun, uulitin ko po, yung itatanong po natin verbally, yun po yung tinay po natin sa ating chat box. Okay? That is applicable for the Zoom participants. For the Facebook Live viewers, yung mga questions po ninyo will be read by the moderator. Okay? Third, all questions and queries must be relevant to the topics presented, and it should be precise and direct to the point. Questions or queries may be conveyed in Filipino or English. And lastly, all participants must observe proper decorum. Microphones should be muted when not recognized to speak. Any unnecessary noises generated from other participants unrecognized to talk may cause distraction to the one asking the question or the concerned official or personnel addressing those queries. So this open forum will last for an hour, and we have here our technical team to consolidate and control the flow of all the questions. And with that, the floor is now open for questions. But before we proceed with the first questions, let me just recognize, of course, yung mga mag-a-address or sasagot sa ating mga katanungan. Of course, we have here our good Undersecretary Alain Delby Pascua of the Office of Administration, ang ating Chief of Educational Facilities Division, si Engineer Annabel R. Pangan. We also have here Engineer Marjorie Tiburcio, the Assistant Chief of the Program Monitoring Unit of EFD, and Sir Engineer Luis Purisima Jr., the Assistant Chief of the Planning and Design Unit, EFD. So, ayan po. So, now we have our first question via Zoom, but actually this can be addressed na immediately. Blurred po ang PowerPoint presentation. Pwede ba pasendan lang sa lahat ng soft copies after the presentation para ma-double check po namin. Thanks and God bless. So, as regards to the soft copies of the presentations, this will be uploaded later tonight. Actually, not just for the first session, but for the second session as well. It will be uploaded sa SIPAG website, which is www.sipag2021.weebly.com. So, ano po yun lahat? Lowercase po lahat in one word. So, once again, all soft copies and the certificates as well will be uploaded later tonight at www.sipag2021.weebly.com. So, ayan po. So we have also a question via the Facebook Live comment section. This question is from Ma'am Jacqueline Dagoy. So the question is, may I inform that during our DepEd Secretary's visit last January 2019, in our school, Balabag Elementary School, Valencia District, Negros Oriental Division, we were promised and assured that we will be given a 2-story building with 3 classrooms per story, or a total of 6 classrooms. I had been having a follow-up, and I was assured that the promised building will be done, but only delayed. So, anyone from the EFD or Sir Yusek Alain Pascua?
Doon sa question na naka-prioritize na yung mga building, naka-promise na tayo, na itatayo ng mga building, lahat po yan ay nakalista sa mga priority list ng DepEd at saka sa commitment ng DepEd. Ang problema lang natin ay yung pondo. Kung kukunti po ang pondo, hindi po matutugunan kahit priority o committed ang mga projects na yan. Okay, bigyan ko kayo ng sample. Itong 2020, nag-propose po tayo sa Congress ng total requirements ng DepEd. Ang ibig sabihin, ilan ba ang kailangan nating classroom sa buong Pilipinas? At umabot ito ng mahigit na 120,000 classroom. Alam niyo po ba kung magkano ang kailangan natin sa lahat ng mga classroom na yan, including repairs, etc. Ang kailangan natin ay 1.081 trillion pesos. Hindi milyon, hindi billion, kung hindi trillion. Kaya ang pinopropose natin sa Congress, pwede bang mag-allocate tayo ng 3 taon? 2020, 2021, 2022 para masagot yung buong 124,000 na classrooms na kinakailangan na. Kaya last year, hiningi namin sa DBM at sa Congress na maglaan ng 300,000. Ulitin natin. Ang hiningi namin o ang pinropose namin ay 332 billion pesos for 2021. Para sa ganon, 1/3 ng kakulangan sa classroom ay may ayos na natin. Ang binigay po sa atin sa National Expenditure Program o ito yung proposal ng DBM sa Congress ay 12.935 billion lang. So ulitin ko, ang hiningi natin ay 332 billion. Ang binigay sa atin ay 12 billion. Kokonti, ilang percent lang? 5%. Okay. Pagdating sa Kongreso, nung matapos ang budget deliberation, ang na-approve doon sa 12.9 billion ay 2.9 billion lang. Ilan percent yung 2.9 billion doon sa 332 billion na kailangan natin at doon sa total na 1.081 trillion. 1%? 10%? Kayo na ang mag-judge. Kaya't mapa-committed man yan, mapa-promise man lang yan, ipinangako man namin yan, with these funds that we have now, 2.9 billion, hindi po namin magagawa yan. Not this year. Next year, depende po kung bibigyan tayo ng Kongreso. Kaya't ang sabi namin sa lahat ng mga humihingi, nagre-request ng mga new classrooms tsaka mga school buildings, not this year. For 2020, for 2021, lahat po ng request ay denied or shelved for further consideration. Pwede yan 2022, 2023, but depending kung magkano ang ibibigay sa atin ng Kongreso. Binigay ho natin yung kailangan natin kung magkano at based dyan, iaalat natin kung ano yung karapat-dapat. Kaya saan ngayon pupunta yung 2.9 billion na kakarampot na pondo? Sabi na in consultation sa mga engineer at saka sa Education Facilities Division, itong 2.9 ay gagastusin natin sa mga incomplete, abandoned, at mga hindi pa tapos na mga school building. Diyan lang. Yan lang yung pagtutuunan ng pondo na yan. So lahat po ng mga tanong nyo, kung magagawa pa yung na-promise natin o na-commit ng undersecretary, kahit na na-commit ng secretary, hindi po magagawa yan ngayong taon. Dahil wala po tayong pondo para dyan. So, linaw ko lang po yan. We are not reneging on our commitment. Hindi ho dahil na-promise na namin yan, kung hindi dahil napakaliit ang binigay sa atin na pondo. Magmula sa 1 trillion na hinihingi natin, 300 plus billion for this year, kaya lang 12 billion ang inilabas ng DBM at ang naaprobahan ng Kongreso ay 2.9 billion lang. Please do the math and help us convince our legislator and our DBM officials na next year, taasan naman nila para maitayo natin ang lahat ng mga classrooms na kailangan natin. Yan po ang sagot dyan.
So there you have it. Ma'am Jacqueline Dagoy, our good Undersecretary, have answered clearly and in detail yung inyo pong katanungan. Before we move on to the next question, also joining us today are Sir Alec Ladanga and Ma'am Runa Catalan of the Budget and Finance, and also Sir Noel Roa of the BHROD. So ayan po. So thank you po for joining us in today's session po. So for our next question, this is from Clores Ferds of Pamplona District Division of Camarines Sur. So this is the question. Ang San Ramon Elementary School, Division of Camarines Sur, ang classrooms na na-implement ng DPWH, halos 100% completion na po. Pero hindi naman magamit kasi wala pang turnover na naganap. So, our friends from the EFD, may answer? Ma'am Pangan?
Okay, thank you ma'am for your question. We will check with our division engineer kung bakit po hindi pa na-turnover yung inyong mga completed na school building. Probably po, isa diyan sa mga dahilan ay dahil baka upon checking or final inspection po ng ating division engineer, ay may nire-require pa po siyang dapat itama or kompletohin pa ng contractor ng DPWH. So we will check with them po kung bakit hindi pa ito nata-turnover, and we will advise him po, yung ating division engineer ng Camarines Sur, to coordinate with you regarding the turnover of this completed project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Annabel Pangan. And another question from our FB Live, but unfortunately we haven't identified the person. So the question is, if the division engineer won't accept the finished building, what shall we do in our school? Are we not allowed to occupy the building? Thanks a lot. So, Ma'am Annabel?
Sige po. Mas mainam po sana kung malalaman natin dun sa nagtanong kung saan particular na division at school po ito para po ito ay mapapuntahan natin. So, bakit po kaya hindi ina-accept ng ating division engineer itong project na ito? Kasi po, again, katulad po ng question kanina, no? Kailangan po dadaan ito sa mga final inspection ng ating engineers, at kung may mga requirements pa po sila na dapat i-correct po sa mga projects na ini-implement po natin, ay kailangan pong tapusin ito ng contractor bago po natin sila mabayaran at i-turn over yung building po sa school and sa DepEd po. Sige. Sana po mailagay nyo sa comment box natin kung saan particular na school po ito para po mapapuntahan natin sa ating engineer. Thank you po.
Yes, once again, thank you, Engineer Annabel Pangan. And I think the next question is still addressed to the Educational Facilities Division. So, from Sir Felix Franco via FB Live, is it true po kahit picture na lang ng Gabaldon Building, pwede pa po magpa-restore? Wala na po totally kasi yung building. Anyone from the EFD?
Sige, sir. Okay, ako na po yung sasagot dun sa question ninyo. Doon po sa RA 11194 or the Gabaldon Restoration Law, required po na dapat i-restore natin yung ating mga existing na Gabaldon buildings. However po, in terms of reconstructing yung mga Gabaldon buildings, medyo nagdadalawang isip po kami diyan because firstly, kailangan po nating timbangin kung ano ba yung pangailangan pa ng school natin. Baka mas kailangan niya yung space na yon for the construction of additional na multi-story buildings kung malaki yung school population ng kanyang school na yon, or meron pa ba siyang ibang pangailangan like workshop buildings and other ancillary buildings, library, multipurpose buildings, na dapat mas bigyan po natin ng space para po maitayo natin yung mga, bago po natin bigyan ng toon yung pagtatayo muli ng Gabaldon Building kasi sa batas naman po sinabi ay restoration of the existing Gabaldon buildings. So, yun po, thank you.
So, there you have it. Thanks once again, Engineer Annabel Pangan. And this question can be addressed by either our good Undersecretary for Administration or our officials from the Educational Facilities Division. So the question is, could the DPWH officials or division engineers, after finishing the building construction, furnish the school needed documents like electrical blueprint and permit, as well as other important documents for our reference?
So, mula pa lang po, bago pa lang mag-start po yung ating construction ng mga any facilities, kahit po ito ay repair ng mga school building sa ating mga schools, dapat po bago pa lang mag-start yon ay nai-inform na po yung ating mga school heads sa mga parating na project sa kanyang eskwelahan. So, ang tinatawag po natin sa activity na to is the pre-construction meeting. So, dito po sa activity na to, binibigyan na rin po natin ng kopya ng ang ating mga school heads ng copy ng plano, ng detailed estimates or program of works na pagawain sa kanyang mga schools, no. Ngayon po, bago i-turn over yung inyong schools ay yung mga natapos na building sa ating mga school heads, ay kailangan po makomplete ni DPWH yung mga permits na issuehan po ng occupancy permits at nagawa na po ni contractor yung mga as-built plan at kasama po itong ito-turn over sa inyo upon completion of the building. Dahil po itong mga as-built plan and occupancy permit ay kailangan nyo po as references ng ating mga assets na nadadagdag po sa ating mga schools. Part po ito ng records ng ating mga schools. Thank you.
Annabel, may dadagdag lang ako. Palagay ko kinakailangan lang natin i-formalize, pakidrop na lang Engineer Annabel, ng isang formal letter sa DPWH that we will be requiring them to provide the details of the contracts, including yung mga terms ng bidding, para sa ganun ay mabigyan din natin ng copy yung ating engineer, yung division, at saka yung school na recipient ng mga project. And then another memo to the field na sa lahat ng engineers at saka ng mga architects natin to conduct pre-construction orientation or conference between our engineer and the school principal and property custodian para ipaliwanag kung ano yung project na gagawin sa school na yon. Kasama na rin yung mga rules and regulations natin para sa construction ng project sa school. And then another meeting, nakasama naman yung contractor na nanalo dun sa school building project. Para sa ganon, pag nagpulong na si principal, si property custodian, si engineer, si division, at saka si DPWH, o sa school level, maliwanag sa kanila kung paano isasakatuparan yung school building project. At kung ano yung mga documents, ano yung mga kinakailangan maibigay sa principal para maliwanagan sila. Ito yon kailangan natin at least dalawang issuance natin. One is a formal letter to the DPWH, the other one is a memo to the field. Corollary to that, gusto kong ulitin na kailangan tapusin na rin natin yung manual natin on school building monitoring project. So kailangan natin yan para pag binigay natin yung manual na yan sa mga principals, sa mga school property custodian, sa mga teacher, alam nila kung paano i-monitor yung mga school building program at kung ano yung titignan nila sa implementation. Yan yung tingin kong kailangan natin na gawin pa para sa masagot natin yung mga concerns na yan.
Okay, marami pong salamat, Undersecretary Alain Pascua and of course, Engineer Annabel Pangan. So for our next question, this is via the FB Live from Sir Enam Ross of Balogo East Elementary School, Division of Albay. Sir, ma'am, is there any fund for repair, restoration of Marcos-type building?
Okay. Thank you for the question po again. Meron po tayong tinatawag na, aware po siguro kayo doon, yung ating National School Building Inventory. And kasama po diyan sa inventaryo niyan, kung nakatayo pa yung inyong mga Marcos building, ay kasama po yan sa assessment na ginagawa ninyo sa pag-fill up ng ating National School Building Inventory. So kayo po ang naglalagay doon kung ano ang current condition ng mga buildings. So depende po yan kasi may mga regular po na mga repairs na nagagawa sa mga school kung ang inyong Marcos building ay usually na nagkakaroon naman po ng regular maintenance at na ilagay nyo yung condition na yan na in good condition dun sa ating pong pag-fill up ng ating NSBI report, ay yan po ay lalabas na hindi siya subject for replacement or repair. Pero kung ilalagay nyo po na for subject siya for replacement na dahil na po ang condition niya ay condemnable na, then subject for ipoprogram po natin iyan sa mga replacement programs natin for the Marcos type school buildings. Although in previous years po, nagkaroon ng policy na lahat po ng mga Marcos buildings ay i-replace na po natin. Kaya lang po, dahil nga po sa kakulangan ng pondo or bumaba po ng husto yung budget natin for new construction, yung mga engineers po natin sa division dahil sa pangailangan ng classrooms ng ating mga schools ay naisasama pa rin nila ito sa pag-repairs na ginagawa po nila na prioritization sa division level. So yun po yung ating sagot dyan. Depende po sa report ninyo sa NSBI po natin kung ito ay subject for replacement dahil condemnable na or in good condition dahil po sa assessment ninyo ay may mga regular maintenance or repair na ginagawa sa ating mga Marcos type buildings at in good condition pa naman po sa tingin ninyo or sa assessment ng engineer yung ating mga buildings.
So once again, maraming salamat po Engineer Annabel Pangan. So for our next question, actually this is a common question from our FB Live viewers. May mga schools na nakapag-soil testing na last year. Ano po ba ang status ng mga site na iyon?
Sige, ulitin ko ulit. Ang approach natin dito, lahat ng mga proposed school building projects natin sa lahat ng eskwelahan ay nilalagay natin sa tinatawag nating long list. At itong long list na ito ay sinasubject ka agad for soil testing. So, iti-test na yan ng DPWH at saka ng DepEd engineer. At once ma-soil test yan, mapafinalize ngayon program of works. Okay, nakapila na yan. So, depende ngayon kung yung project na yan ay nasa priority list o nasa commitment list o nasa regular list. Paano maisasama yan sa program implementation for this year or for next year, magdidepende na ngayon yan sa budget. Kaya katulad ngayon, binigyan tayo ng 2.9 billion funds lang, hindi may isasama kahit yung mga may soil test na, kahit yung kompleto na ang program of works, kahit committed na yan o nasa priority list na yan. Hindi natin magagawa dahil may kulang ang pondo natin. So ano yung pinaka-priority natin ngayon? Ang pinaka-priority na yon ay yung abandoned, unfinished, or incomplete school building infrastructures. Yan yung mga popondohan ng 2.9 billion natin yan. Diyan mapupunta yung pondo natin for 2021. Hindi sa iba pang mga project, kahit committed, kahit may priority, kahit na may soil test at kompleto na ang program of works. Dahil yan lang po ang pondo natin.
Thank you so much, Undersecretary Aline Pascua. And for our next question, this is from Sir Irvin Carlo Noble of Payak High School from the Division of Camarines Sur. So, pwede po ba isama na po sa POW? So, I think our presenters from the EFD knows about this POW. Isama na po sa POW ang hauling. Wala po kasi sa POW na ibinibigay ng central office pa, may mga projects. Thanks po.
Ikaw na, Kuya Bot.
So anyone from our presenters or officials from the Educational Facilities Division may address this question?
Yes, magandang umaga po. Salamat sa tanong. And doon sa preparation ng POW, hindi pa talaga kasama ang sa standard, tinatawag natin standard program of work, hindi pa kasama ang hauling. Ngayon, ang mga engineers natin, nagko-conduct yan ng validation or assessment ng site. Yeah? Doon sa site, makikita yan kung ano yung kung magkakaroon ng site preparation doon sa school at malalaman din natin kung gaano kalayo yung eskwelahan sa panggagalingan ng mga construction materials. Pagkatapos ng validation, dyan lang po papasok ngayon yung hauling cost ng project wherein isasama po yan ng ating mga engineers dun sa preparation ng program of work. For example, meron tayong standard ngayon, standard program of work. Isasama lang natin yung cost of hauling doon sa standard program of work natin to come up with the total project cost. Yung po yung kung kailan natin dapat isama ang hauling cost sa program of work.
Thank you so much, Engineer Luis Purisima, for answering that question. So, for our next question, again, from the FB Live comment section, from Sir Rene Gravino. So, he just wants to ask, how will he know that our Gabaldon building is part of the repair program of the Department of Education?
Sir, no? Paano malalaman kung ang inyong Gabaldon building ay kasama ba sa ating mga programa? Lalo na dun sa ating Gabaldon Restoration Program. Okay. Ang mandate po natin ngayon ay lahat ng Gabaldon building ay i-assess ng mga engineers. Ngayon po, upon assessment, gagawan po nila yan ng respective na detailed engineering plans and program of works for prioritization, submission dito sa central office po for funding. Ngayon po, katulad po nung ibang projects na na-mention ni Yusek Alain at nabanggit ko rin po sa aking presentation kanina, yung Gabaldon budget din po, katulad ng budget natin sa new construction, ay lumiit din po. So from the usual budget na meron po tayo taon-taon na 2 billion for the Gabaldon restoration, ay bumagsak po ito ngayong taon na to ng 383 million po. So, meaning, kahit po na-assess na po ng engineers at nagawan na po ng plano and program of works, ay hindi po lahat ay makakasama for funding for this year. So, katulad po ng na-mention ko kanina, ang naka-priority po natin ngayong taon na ito for restoration are those na natamaan po or nasira ng mga bagyo at lindol na sa iba't ibang lugar natin sa Pilipinas, no? And yung other priority na mga projects natin for Gabaldon, lalo na po yung mga tawag dito is yung mga special case natin or special designs na mga Gabaldon building. Yan po yung mga inuuna natin i-restore. Pero hindi po nangangahulugan na hindi po mapopondohan yung mga gabaldon buildings na na-assess na ng mga engineers. So, katulad po sa ating new construction, iyan po ay pipila ulit for prioritization sa susunod na mga taon pa ng pagpaplano at paggawa natin ng budget for the succeeding years for the Gabaldon Restoration Program. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Engineer Annabel Pangan. So this next question from, of course, FB Live pa rin, comment section. This is about school building, pero I think this involves also yung ating school health division. But however, let me read na rin po itong question, baka ma-address din po ng ating mga officials from the EFD. So, pwede po bang isama na sa plano ng building ang washing area per classroom? Hinahanap po kasi siya during evaluation of wins. Good morning po. From Francisco Cascabel Jr.
Kayo na.
Okay po. Okay. So, thank you for your question. So, may mga policies po kasi tayo ngayon na sinusundan. Like, for example, the construction of the comfort room per classroom. So, kasama na po doon sa comfort room natin yung ating toilet and hand washing na gagamitin ng mga estudyante na nagkaklase sa loob ng classroom na yon. Pero po mapansin niyo doon sa ating mga ginagawang design, hindi po natin tinotolerate na magkaroon tayo ng 1 CR per classroom. Kaya po ang design natin ay common area, yung ating mga hand washing and toilet facilities. Dahil po ang issue dito in some of the schools ay hindi na maintain kapag nasa loob ng eskwelahan, ng kwarto, or kaya naman po ay nagagamit yung ating mga school heads pa or estudyante sa paglilinis ng ating mga comfort room kapag ito po ay nandoon sa loob ng classroom. Pangalawa po ay, syempre may mga, minsan po, kapag hindi na maintain ng maayos po yung mga CR sa loob ng classroom ay nagiging, nagdadagdag po ito ng non-conduciveness sa ating classrooms dahil kung may mga amoy yung CR, syempre naamoy ito ng ating mga estudyante habang sila ay nagkaklase po. Kaya po may policy po ang ating management and even the previous management po na hindi po natin tinotolerate yung construction of toilet facilities na naka-attach sa bawat classrooms.
So, marami pong salamat uli, Engineer Annabel Pangan. So, ngayon naman po, let us entertain questions from our Zoom participants. So, let us recognize our first participants who will convey his question. Sir Demosthenes Quiñal from Bislig City Division of Caraga Region. So, Sir Demosthenes Quiñal, you are now recognized to speak. Okay, so while waiting for Sir Demi to convey his question verbally, we want to, of course, acknowledge all the participants on board the Zoom and, of course, our viewers from the FB Live for joining us in this SIPAG 2021 conference. So, ayan po, marami pong salamat sa inyo. And for this session, we are having the Educational Facilities Division po. So once again, okay, so while waiting for Sir Demosthenes Quiñal to verbally convey his question, let us entertain questions again from our FB Live viewer. Sir Eliazar Kadukoy, school principal of Bangkerohan Elementary School. Just a query, can we avail the access all capital, access building, 2-story for CY 2022 budget? Because our school is near the river and we are experiencing many floodings and the 3 classrooms reported as condemnable due to so many cracks in the post. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for the question. Again, yung access building po natin dun sa ating presentation is part of our budget proposal for 2022. So, depende po kung i-approve ito ng Congress at ibibigay sa atin ngayong 2022, next year, ay magkakaroon po tayo ng budget sa access. Okay? Pangalawa po, katulad ng na-mention ko po kanina din sa aking presentation, kung kasama po kayo doon sa listahan ng mga 3,864 na listahan ng schools na flood-prone at walang mga multi-story buildings, ay kayo po ay magiging recipient ng access program natin po once the budget for that will be available. Okay? Kung hindi naman po kayo maging recipient ng access at base po dun sa description nyo sa school ay may pangangailangan pa rin yung inyong mga eskwelahan ng new buildings dahil some of these po ay sira na or condemnable na, ay kayo po ay makakasama pa rin doon sa prioritization natin sa ating school building program. Kasama po yan doon sa ating mga projections. Pero yun nga po, hindi natin masabi kung kailan, anong taon kayo makakasama dahil depende nga po ito doon sa budget na maia-approve sa atin sa susunod na mga taon. Salamat po.
Mag-additional ako doon, Annabel. Yung listahan natin ng 3,000 schools na sinasabi nating flood-prone school areas, sila yung nasa list for access buildings. At ito ay propose din natin sa Kongreso at saka sa DBM para mabigyan ng pondo. Itong 3,000 na ito na flood-prone areas ay may iba't ibang mga priorities yan. Yung isa dyan, yung una, yung mga one-story buildings lang, sila yung mauuna. Dahil sila yung babahain ng mataas at walang paglalagyan ng mga equipment. So yan yung priority natin. Kung meron naman na siyang multi-story facilities, yan yung nasa medyo baba. At siyempre, in coordination with DRRMS, baka kasi hindi economical yung access building kung hindi yung ililipat yung school sa hindi flood-prone area. Kasi yun po talaga ang sagot pagdating sa flood-prone areas. Hindi engineering solution ang kailangan nating gawin katulad ng two-story access building. Kung hindi, baka kinakailangan ilipat yung school from flood-prone area sa isa na hindi binabaha at walang mga dangers ng landslide. Yan yung pag-uusapan o yan yung iaayos natin. But we are encouraging all principals, all school heads at saka mga teachers natin, kung ang eskwelahan nyo talaga ay palaging binabaha, pakireport po yan para ma-finalize po natin. May isama kayo sa listahan. Kailangan din nating malaman gaano kataas ang baha sa mga previous na, sabihin natin, 10 taon para magkaroon tayo ng record ng baha na yan. Dahil kung talagang palagi, ay baka may ibang solusyon tayong dapat gawin. Tapos, mayroon po tayong ilalabas na mga preparedness measure, calamity preparedness measure, na dinidiscuss lang natin ngayon para sa mga eskwelahan na palaging nasasalanta ng bagyo, ng baha, at ng iba pang kalamidad. Kailangan kasing maituwid natin o mailinaw kung ano ang mga dapat gawin. Sample po ako ay kung multi-story ang building at palaging binabaha, dapat ang first floor ay walang computers, walang textbooks, walang laboratory equipment, walang records. Lahat yan ay nasa second floor or nasa third floor. So ito po yung nakikita natin ng mga preventive measures. At maglalagay din tayo ng tinatawag natin flood meter o mga parang isang lugar kung saan nakalagay yung history ng flood at kung ano mga taon, gaano kataas, para sa ganon, ito ang magiging guide ng ating mga principal at ng ating mga teachers kung binabaha at gaano kataas ang baha. Ito po ay dinidiscuss pa lang ng EFD at saka ng DRRMS at ilalabas natin to bilang DepEd order. So ito pa lang yung pwede nating maidagdag sa discussion na ito.
Thank you so much, Undersecretary Alain Del Pascua and Engineer Pangan for answering the question. So before we move on to our questions from our Zoom participants, let me just read one more question from the FB Live comment section. And this is from Sir Raymond Garcia Lolo. Ma'am, sir, gusto ko lang po ma-clear out. If yung building po ay hindi na turnover, pero ginagamit na as classroom, kasi po walang magamit na room. Good as turnover na po ba yon, ma'am, sir? Thank you po.
Thank you po for that question. So, ang tanong, yung mga hindi pa na turnover po na mga buildings pero ginagamit na ng school ngayon. So, yan po ang, pag may na-encounter po kaming ganyang sitwasyon, ang nire-recommend po namin talaga sa ating mga schools ay wag munang gamitin. Lalong-lalo na po kung yung mga school buildings na yan ay talagang may kailangan pang gawin yung ating mga contractor, kaya po hindi pa nata-turn over sa DepEd or sa school. Kasi po, once na gamitin po iyan ng school, kung halimbawa may masira po sa loob ng classroom, like mabasag yung ating mga jalousie, masira yung mga doorknobs, masira yung pinto, o masira po yung mga flash sa CR at mga gripo, hindi na po yan gagawin ng contractor, ng DPWH. Kasi ang sasabihin nila ay ginamit na ng DepEd. Yan po. At hindi na nila kasalanan iyan kasi nga po ay ginamit na ng DepEd as classrooms. Hindi rin po natin maiwasan din or mapigilan din paminsan-minsan po yung ating mga schools dahil nga po sa kakulangan ng classroom ay napipilitan silang gamitin din yung mga classrooms na ito kahit pa hindi pa na ita-turn over sa DepEd properly. So kung ganun po yung magiging kaso, ay kailangan po siguro magkaroon tayo ng agreement doon sa contractor na temporary lang po yung paggamit natin ng mga classrooms at kung may masisira po doon ay still nasa loob pa rin naman po ito ng defects liability period ng ating kontrata sa ating mga contractor. Yun po yung ating sagot dyan.
So ayan, once again, thank you so much, Engineer Annabel Pangan. And this question is from our Zoom participant. So our Engineer Marjorie Tiburcio may also address this question. So let's go back to Sir Demosthenes Quinal of Bislig City Division, Caraga Region. Sir Demosthenes Quinal, you are recognized to speak.
Hello, Sir Lemuel. Soligbes morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Thank you very much for recognizing me. My question lang po is ganito. Ano na po yung status ng proposal to transfer the Physical Facilities Engineer of the Division from the SGOD to OSDS? Salamat po.
Okay. Salamat po sa question niyo, sir. Kasama po yan, kung maalala niyo po, yung mga nagpatawag tayo ng workshop noong mga panahong hindi pa pandemic, pina-workout po natin yung mga suggestions, recommendations for the improvement po ng organization, lalo na yung mga strands under the office of Yusek Alain. So kasama po diyan yung mga engineers natin sa division na nirecommend ninyo na instead of under ng ating SGOD or ESSD, shall be reporting directly to the Office of the Superintendent. So, yun po yung mga recommendations or policies na yon ay nirecommend natin sa BHROD. Nandito po sila ngayon kasama natin at baka mabigyan nila tayo ng updates regarding po dun sa mga recommendations na ginawa po natin sa workshop na yon.
So, thank you so much, Engineer Marjorie Tiburcio, for answering that question. So, before I proceed with our next Zoom participant, let me just inform you that we are now down to our last 2 questions. As much as we want to accommodate all the questions in the Zoom chat box and from our FB live comment sections, we are actually constrained and limited by as to the time. However, you may address those questions na hindi po namin nasagot dito doon po sa Educational Facilities Division. Earlier, Engineer Annabel Pangan gave their email address and their contact details. So, you may address those questions directly sa kanilang opisina. So, ayan po. So, going now to the second to the last question from our Zoom participant, we recognize Sir Edilberto Abalos of Region 1. Sir Edilberto Abalos, you are recognized to speak. Okay, so while waiting for Sir Edilberto Abalos, we now proceed to our next Zoom. Okay na. I'm sorry. So we now go to Sir Edilberto Abalos. Sir, good morning po.
Good morning, Lem, and good morning, Yusek, and to the team. During the previous administration, meron pong mga kinonstruct na covered court.
Wait.
Sa mga schools natin, where I think walang concurrence ng superintendent. Pero
okay,
tapos na.
Sir Edil, I think you're having internet connectivity issues in your area, but can I just read his question to be answered by our EFD officials and also Undersecretary Aline Pascua. So, there are covered courts constructed by the LGU through SEF or General Fund and funds solicited from legislators where the constructions has no concurrence of the SDO. My question is, do we need to ask the LGU to make a proper turnover of the structure or hindi na kailangan? At ibubuk na lang sa infra ng schools SDO. So that is the question of Sir Edilberto Abalos from Region 1.
Okay. Thank you po for the question. Unang-una po, kung ang policy po natin ay kung pag-aari natin yung ating school, kasi po only small number of schools po ay totally nakapangalan sa DepEd at karamihan po dito ay under the name of the LGU and in other forms of site ownership. So ang sabi po natin, ang policy is that kung ano po ang itayo sa mga school sites na pag-aari ni DepEd, technically dapat po ay property yon ni DepEd. So kung yan po ay pag-aari ng DepEd yung ating school site, kailangan po ma-turn over sa atin yung mga buildings or structure po na yon at maisama sa ating assets. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Annabel Pangan. And now we are down to our last question via Zoom, of course. And we recognize Sir Marlon Destreza. We recognize, you are recognized to speak, Sir Marlon Destresa. Okay.
Good afternoon po.
Okay, good morning, Sir Marlon Destresa. Good morning po.
Sir, good morning. Sir, I would like to ask this question regarding the status of the PAGCOR building. Right now, medyo may mga defects or need repair yung mga PAGCOR buildings namin. So I would like to ask if we have this funds from PAGCOR for the repair of this building. Yan lang po.
Okay, thank you sir for that question. Okay, PAGCOR building ang tanong niyo po sir. So, katulad po ng ibang building na natapos at na-turn over na po sa DepEd, pag na-turn over na po yan sa DepEd, yung ating PAGCOR building, ay kasama na po sa ating accounts yan, sa book of accounts. And lahat po ng building subject to inyong reporting sa ating NSBI, ay pwede po natin siyang programahan ng major repair. Okay, pero subject din po sa prioritization na gagawin ng division engineer because ang nagre-recommend po kung anong schools, anong mga buildings ang i-repair po natin sa bawat division ay ang mga division engineers. Resulta po yan ng kanilang assessment and validation na ginagawa po.
Thank you so much, Engineer Annabel Pangan, for addressing that question. So, as mentioned a while ago, as much as we want to accommodate all the questions, kasi sa totoo lang po, napakarami pong katanungan as regard to the matters concerning the Educational Facilities Division. Pero kulang na rin po tayo sa oras. As I said, we are limited and constrained by the time. However, you may still directly address your questions sa Educational Facilities Division. The contact details were given a while ago by Engineer Annabel R. Pangan. So ayan po. So once again, marami pong salamat sa ating panel po, Undersecretary Alain Del B. Pascua, Engineer Annabel R. Pangan, Engineer Luis Purisima, and Engineer Marjorie R. Tiburcio. And that's it for our open forum this morning. And back to you, Sir Arman.
Maraming salamat, Sir Lemuel, for that facilitating our open forum. And for our participants, we hope that your questions were answered by our dearest spokespersons coming from EFD. At sa mga katanungan nyo, you can address that to EFD directly, or you can send your questions through our SIPAG website. And for our next part of this session, we all know that technological advancement is part of the bigger change that we have at this very moment. At this time, these platforms connect people regardless of distance and proximity, and one of the best developments ever made is Microsoft Teams. This is the official platform of communication of OUA. And for that, may we call on our Undersecretary for some information regarding this matter.
Magdadagdag lang ako para sa ganun ay mai-contextualize natin yung naging discussion natin sa open forum. Okay. Number one, sinabi natin na maliit lang ang pondo natin for this year. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na hindi natin bibigyan ng pansin yung mga pending o mga nakabinbin na mga request natin for new school buildings. In fact, meron tayong isang ginagawa with EFD at saka DRRMS, yung ating access sa tinatawag na CARED or CARED na 5 billion fund na nasa DRRMS, nasa Department of National Defense at saka sa National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Center. Meron tayong application dyan ng mahigit 3 bilyong pesos, more than 3 billion pesos, for the construction, for the repair, for the reconstruction of schools damaged by earthquakes in Mindanao. Para yan sa Region 11, sa Region 10, Region 12, at iba pang lugar sa Mindanao na nasira yung mga sunod-sunod na lindol noong 2019. So mga 3-point-something billion yan na inaasikaso natin na mai-release kaagad para maiayos natin yung mga school buildings sa Mindanao area na nasira ng lindol. May 1 billion po yan na ina-access natin ngayon. Pangalawa, mayroon gagawin na Bayanihan 3 na batas na dinidiscuss ngayon sa Congress at saka sa Senate. Ipinapasok din natin dyan yung ating panukala na yung mga eskwelahan na nasira ng bagyo sa Bicol, sa Isabela, sa Cagayan, sa Marikina, sa Quezon, at ilang bahagi ng ating bansa, nung nakaraan taon, ay dapat maipasok din natin sa Bayanihan 3 para sa ganon ay ma-repair yan at ma-reconstruct. Isinasama rin natin ang proposal natin sa Bayanihan 3 na yung mga priority natin na kinakailangan natin ayusin, katulad ng ceiling, para may ayos natin yung mga ceilings ng classroom, katulad ng iba pang mga damages ng kalamidad na hindi kasama dito sa mga bagong calamities, ay may isama rin natin dito sa pagsasagawa ng repair at saka reconstruction. Yan yung tinututukan natin para sa ganon ay may isama sa Bayanihan 3. Yung para sa susunod taon, 2022, ay i-update natin lahat yung mga ginawa nating aid memoir at mga proposal para makita ng DBM, makita rin ng Kongreso kung ano yung mga pangangailangan natin sa DepEd pagdating sa school buildings. Kasama na rin dyan yung preparasyon natin sa face-to-face class interaction, yung pag-repair at pagsasaayos ng mga pasilidad, mga wash facility, toilets, hand-washing facilities, at iba pa na health-related. Isinasama rin natin yan sa ating mga panukala. Kahit maliit po yung pondo natin ngayon, naghahanap pa rin tayo ng other sources of funds para yung immediate needs natin sa mga damages, sa mga repairs, sa mga health protocols, ay mabigyan natin ng kaukulang pondo at maibigay natin yan sa Kongreso at saka kay Presidente para maayos natin yan before we even go to face-to-face class interaction. Gusto ko rin i-remind yung mga regional offices at saka division offices, yung mga naibigay po natin na mga 4x4 vehicles sa mga engineers, ay dapat sa engineers, hindi mga superintendent o assistant division superintendent ang gumagamit. May mga ilang report kami natanggap. Kahapon ay nai-relay ko sa ilang RDs. May mga report na superintendents ang gumagamit yung mga vehicles ng mga engineer. Hindi ho para sa inyo yan. Para yan sa engineer, para makapag-ikot sila sa iba't ibang mga lugar, lalo na sa bundok, para ma-check, ma-monitor, ma-evaluate yung mga pangangailangan ng mga school building. At kapag may emergency, DRR coordinators naman ang gagamit ng ating mga DepEd vehicles. No? Kaya reminder yan sa SDS at saka sa mga ASDS. And last, itong i-discuss right after nito, yung Teams. Ito yung bago nating communication platform. Dati workplace tayo. At dahil sa workplace, naiayos natin ang daloy ng mga komunikasyon. Magmula central office, to regions, to divisions, to school, mabilis ang palitan natin ng communication tsaka mga memo. Kaya't madali natin na isasaayos kung meron tayong dapat gawin. Hindi natin ngayon itinuloy yung workplace. Nagkaroon tayo dyan ng ilang sigalot sa Facebook na siyang nagmamanage ng workplace. Humina yung kanilang serbisyo, tumaas yung kanilang rates. Kaya sabi namin ni Director Abraham, lipat na lang tayo sa Microsoft Teams. Dahil ito ay meron naman na tayong lisensya, meron tayong O365 accounts, may mga email addresses tayo. Gagamitin natin lahat ito para sa ganon ay mailipat ang ating komunikasyon at correspondence dito sa Microsoft Teams. Kaya i-discuss ngayon sa inyo kung paano nyo magagamit itong Microsoft Teams. May mga ginawa na kaming iba't ibang teams under ng administrand. At ang ilang channels dito ay yung channels para sa mga engineers at saka sa mga architects sa regional at saka division level. Dapat maging miyembro lahat kayo nung channel na yan under ng OUA strand. Dahil dyan ilalabas ang mga memo para sa mga engineers at saka architects. Meron din po kaming ginawang channel para naman sa mga principals. Para sa ganon ay yung channel na yan, kung may communication kami sa mga principals, diyan din namin ibababa. Kaya sana lahat ho ng principals tsaka mga school heads ay maging miyembro rin ng channel na yan. Mayroon din para sa property custodians. Meron para sa RDs tsaka ARDs. Meron para sa SDS tsaka sa ESDS. Meron para sa mga chips ng ESSD at saka SGODs. Iba-ibang channel po yan sa Microsoft Teams. Tuturuan kayo ngayon kung paano kayo makakapasok doon, paano nyo sila ma-access para sa tuwing meron tayong memorandum, meron tayong aid memwa o meron tayong communication from the central office, from the strand, ay madali nyong makuha, madali nyong mabasa. At kung may mga katanungan naman kayo o clarification, ay pwede rin nyong ilabas doon. Doon sa iba ho na wala sa administran, katulad ng mga teachers, mga parents, at saka mga estudyante, gagawan po rin namin ng open channel yan para may kapasok po kayo doon sa channel natin, sa team natin, at mailahad din ninyo kung ano yung mga gusto nyong mangyari o mga gusto nyong tanungin o comments or concerns para palagi naming mababasa yan at palagi namin yan masasagot o may address. Kaya makinig po kayo yung susunod na discussion natin sa Microsoft Teams. Doon po tayo lilipat. Itong ginawa natin ngayon na session ngayong umaga ay itutuloy pa rin natin virtually sa mga teams. Kasama na rin po dyan yung mga Facebook accounts natin. Meron tayong DepEd tayo, may Alain Pasqua, may DepEd Philippines, at iba pa, para sa ganon ay tuloy-tuloy yung ating komunikasyon. Sisikapin po namin ang lahat ng mga tanong ninyo, ang lahat ng concern nyo, masagot pa rin natin. Kaya kung hindi man natin natalakay ngayon, ipasok nyo lang sa chat natin, pasok nyo lang sa mga comments, at susubukan namin tugunan yan ng mga policy recommendations, ng mga proyekto, o ng mga sagot kung paano yan i-address. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Alain, for those additional information, and hopefully sa ating mga participants at magiging mga participants pa, sana ay mas makatulong ito para mas mabigyang linaw tayo sa kung paano ba dumadaloy ang proseso sa kagawaran ng edukasyon. At katulad ng banggit kanina, part of the ever-changing world is the promotion of continuous technological advancements. These developments help people live a more convenient and meaningful life. Thus, these platforms connect people regardless of distance or proximity. One of the best developments ever made is the Microsoft Teams, the official platform of communication of the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration. And to give us a clear picture of MS Teams and how it works and its features, let's welcome our beloved speaker, Mr. Christian Alan Katahan of Microsoft Viventis.
Yes, magandang umaga po sa lahat ng ating participants and kay Undersecretary. And sa lahat po ng officials na sumusubaybay sa ating session po ngayon. No? Ako po ulit si Christian Katahan from Microsoft Philippines, and kami po ay kaakibat at katulong ng Department of Education and ng Office of the Undersecretary para po bigyan kayo lahat ng bagong pamamaraan ng pag-uusap at pag-collaborate. No? So allow me to dedicate yung next 10 to 15 minutes ng session po na ito para ipakilala sa inyo kung ano ang Microsoft Teams, paano ito makakatulong sa atin, what we can expect, and ano po yung mga kailangan natin gawin pagkatapos. Okay po? So simulan po natin, i-share ko lang po ang aking screen para po mas mabigyang linaw kung paano natin tatalakayin ang Microsoft Teams. Share screen. Ito po. Ito po. So, over the next 10 or 15 minutes, tatalakayin po natin kung ano po ang Microsoft Teams, ano po ba yung mga features na magagamit ninyo pag binuksan yung Teams, ano? At the same time, ano ang tulong nito sa atin, sa lahat ng officials natin, those sa personnel na nasa field, and all of the other officials. Okay? Talakayin po muna natin na ang Microsoft Teams ay yung ating official hub ngayon for communication and for collaboration. Ito na yung bagong pamamaraan natin ng pag-uusap at pag-collaborate, no? And beyond yung simple conversations lang, marami pa pong maibibigay ang Microsoft Teams sa atin. O isa-isahin po muna natin yon at tatalakayin ko po yun isa-isa, ano? So sa Microsoft Teams, ito po yung mga magagawa natin. Kumbaga, makakapag-chat tayo, makakapag-share ng updates sa mga offices natin, sa mga other officials at sa mga ibang departamento ng DepEd, no? Sa field man yan or sa central office. Okay? So yun po yung pinaka-basic, no? Pero bukod doon, tulad po na ginagawa natin ngayon, makakapagtalakay po tayo through the video calls. Pero beyond yung video calls po, magagamit nyo rin ng Microsoft Teams para mag-illustrate ng mga plano natin, no? Meron po tayong tinatawag na whiteboard na pwede nyo pong sulatan, pwede nyo pong markahan habang nag-uusap or nagmi-meeting po tayo. Tulad po na nakikita nyo dito sa slide na ito, no? And ito po yung mga same plans na pwede nating i-share or i-reference pagkatapos po ng call. Ano pa po yung pwede natin gawin? Makapag-create po kayo ora mismo doon sa Microsoft Teams ng mga dokumento natin. Let's say, yung mga memos po, yung mga dokumento na kailangan ng approval or mga reports po natin, magagawa po natin doon sa Microsoft Teams, no? At the same time, makakapag-collaborate po tayo doon sa files na yun with other officials remotely, no? Kung saan po tayo man nagtatrabaho. At the same time, pwede nyo rin i-upload and i-secure yung files nyo ora mismo doon sa Teams na kinabibilangan po natin. Po. And of course, overall, ang Teams po bilang ang bagong platform natin, lahat po tayo ay may kabibilangan na specific groups. May mga grupo po talaga tayo na kabibilangan and mamaya po tatalakayin natin kung paano po tayo makapunta doon. Pero ideally, pagpasok nyo po ng Microsoft Teams, makikita nyo po yung ganito. Ito po bale ang mga grupo na we belong to na pwede tayo mag-interact, mag-share ng files at mag-conduct ng meetings and lahat po, no? Tulad po nito, meron po tayong let's say Teams for the OUA, meron po tayo for the field, no? Sabihin natin na yung mga our teachers from different regions can belong to a particular team po, no? And although hindi po to yung actual teams na iginawa po natin, no, meron po talaga tayo itinayo na teams o dinesign na teams para po sa inyo. Ito lang po ay for demo lang na mapakita sa inyo na ito po yung magiging itsura pag nakapasok kayo sa Microsoft Teams. Po. Ayan. And then of course, kapag nasa loob na kayo ng isang particular team na yon, makikita nyo po doon yung mga channels natin. Ang channels po ay ito lang po yung tawag natin sa mga subgroups. Bale, no? So kung meron tayong teams na let's say for region 3, no? Meron po tayong mga sub channels po na tinatawag para po doon po ma-organize yung mga, kung meron po kayong mga subgroups or specific na group of people na doon lang po na kailangan nyo makausap. And at the same time, para po ma-organize nyo yung mga conversations po ninyo. So, yun lang naman po yun. As much as possible, it is as simple to use para po sa lahat. Kaya po ito rin isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit ito po ang ating or yung direction na pinupuntahan natin, no, in terms of inter-region communications from the central hanggang sa mga guro natin, even sa mag-aaral eventually, no. Ito po yung tanging pamamaraan natin. So it's easier to connect with them and at the same time organize din yung groups natin. Okay? Aside from that, ano po yung pwede nyong asahan sa Microsoft Teams? Ang Teams po kasi ay dinesign natin yan para maging isang hub para i-connect lahat ng ating mga external links, no, na pertains to the department. Pwede nating i-integrate yan sa Microsoft Teams. Ano yung ibig ko sabihin nito? Meron tayong tinatawag natin na DepEd website, di po ba? So pwede natin i-link yun doon sa Microsoft Teams kung kinakailangan lang naman, no? So pwede rin po natin i-link yung ating mga videos. Meron po tayong tinatawag na DepEd TV across, let's say meron tayong mga ibang video streaming channels po, di ba? Meron po tayong sa YouTube doon. Pwede po natin yun i-reference sa mga teams natin, no? Yun po yung mga posibilidad na pwede natin gawin para dahil yun, to my point, ang design po nito is to unify lahat po ng efforts na ginagawa ng departamento, lahat po ng mga officials natin na nasa field, ano. Depende po sa kung ano po yung type ng trabaho, ano po yung kailangan nyo makita, pwede pong nating i-integrate sa Microsoft Teams. Okay? At kung papaano yon, no, we can discuss it on a separate time po. Ngayon po is more of to announce na ito po yung mga posibilidad sa Microsoft Teams. Po. Ngayon, that's all well and good. Pero ano naman po ngayon ang kailangan natin gawin, ano, para po makuha natin yung Microsoft Teams na ibinigay sa atin ng OUA. Meron po tayong checklist. Okay. Number 1, kailangan po meron tayong Office 365 account. Yun po yung pinaka-importante. Dahil ang Microsoft Teams po ay parte ng subscription po natin sa Office 365 account. Ngayon, para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, ang Office 365 po ay ito po yung account ninyo na dito nyo makukuha ang Microsoft Word, yung Excel, yung PowerPoint, and of course, kasama na doon yung Microsoft Teams. So, kailangan po may account po na kayo noon, no? At the same time, pag meron na kayong account, make sure na yung account nga na yun is can access yung portal. Ano po yung portal na yon? I-access po natin by office.com. No? So itatype nyo lang po yun sa browser ninyo and direct po tayo doon sa ating portal. Okay? And huli, make sure na, of course, di ba, may access po tayo doon sa portal natin. Make sure na nakikita nyo po yung Microsoft Teams doon sa portal natin. So paano natin yun specifically gagawin? Ano? Itatype nyo lang po yung office.com sa browser ninyo. So sa mga sumusubaybay po sa browser natin, pwede nyo pong isubukan. Pag na-type nyo po yung office.com, konting kaalaman lang po, ano? Meron po tayong mga Office 365 accounts. Ngayon po, doon po sa Office 365 accounts, lalo na po sa first time na makakakuha yun, meron po tayong password reset. Of course, kasi syempre kailangan yung i-secure yun para sa inyo po. Tama po. Kapag yung self-service password ninyo ay hindi naka-enable, kindly contact, especially those na nasa field po, no, yung mga personnel po natin on the field, kindly contact yung division ITOs po natin or yung mga region ITOs po natin. For those na within the central office, kindly coordinate with the ICTS po. So ito po, maaayos natin yung account ninyo para po ma-access na kayo sa Office 365. So yun lang po yan. But pag meron naman po kayong self-service password, ito lang po yung mga steps na kailangan natin sundan. Punta kayo sa office.com. Okay? Input nyo lang yung user account niyo and of course some other verifications. Madali lang naman po ito eh. Of course, yung authentication method, ibig sabihin, magbibigay lang po kayo ng, kumbaga, ng either mobile number ninyo or email ninyo para lang po i-send doon yung verification. Sa una lang naman po ito especially kung first time nyo na makukuha yung account ninyo para lang po ma-secure nyo siya sa una pa lang. No? So, marireceive nyo po either text or email, depende sa kung ano po yung binigay ninyo. Let's say, okay na po no, na-verify nyo na, napalitan na yung password lahat. May access na po kayo dito. Pwede nyo na pong palitan yung password na kayo lang yung nakakaalam. And then may access na kayo dyan sa office. Ngayon, ano po yung mga makikita ninyo, no? Ito na po yun, naulit lang. So once na nakapag-login na kayo, ito po yung bubungad sa atin. No? Now, don't be confused or anything kasi ang gusto ko lang pong ipakita dito na kita nyo pong nasa left side na ito. Ito po lahat na makukuha ninyo sa Office 365 subscription. No? Ngayon, ang bagong communication platform po natin na yung Microsoft Teams, nandito po ito sa pinakababa. So pag in-access nyo po yan, yung Microsoft Teams na yan, kinlik nyo yan, mapupunta kayo sa main page ng Microsoft Teams. Ito po. Yan. So pag nakita nyo yung main page, meron kayong option na i-download ang Microsoft Teams sa desktop niyo or pwede nyo siyang gamitin sa browser. Okay po? So hanggang dun po muna yung tatalakayin natin, no? Kasi the rest, in terms of pag-access natin sa mga teams, no? Iko-coordinate po sa atin yon ng team po ni Undersecretary. At mamaya po no, tatalakayin po natin yung next steps natin. Pero ito po, once na may access kayo sa teams ninyo, makikita nyo na po na ito ang tinatawag na teams na doon po kayo bibilang. And pag sinelect nyo yung teams na yon, again, makikita nyo doon yung mga channels na kabibilangan or mga channels na created para doon po kayo either mag-usap, mag-collaborate, or mag-share ng file. So, ganoon lang po yun kasimple. Okay? Ngayon, ano po yung next steps? Ito. Ideally, nais po namin na makita nyo na yung teams na ibibigay namin sa inyo. Ano? So, una po sa lahat, kailangan yung ayan. Una po sa lahat, you will be added to your respective teams. Uulitin ko lang po yung advice o yung announcement ni Undersecretary kanina na we have created a teams channels na kabibilangan po ninyo. You will be added by the group of the Undersecretary then. Kindly wait for further instructions on that. But if you have questions, you can always raise it now or to your respective, again, Division IT officers or the central office personnel. Okay? Again, number 2, for the field personnel, you have to connect with the region or division ITOs if you have concerns on your accounts. No? Sa central office naman, you have to connect with the ICPS. No? But then all in general, once that you have your account, madali na lang po mag-access sa Teams using the office.com. Ngayon po, baka po may mga tanong kayo, no? Because in the interest of time, this is more of an announcement of the new platform. Paano po namin malalaman kung, let's say, sa mga iba pong users dito, gusto ko pa pong malaman kung paano magamit yung Teams. Huwag po kayong mag-alala kasi kami po sa Microsoft and bilang tutugon po namin sa Department of Education and sa OUA, magbibigay din po kami ng mga learning materials. Ngayon, madali lang po itong learning materials na ito. Magbibigay po kami ng MS Teams handout at ng interactive demo. Ngayon, ano yung Teams handout? Ang Teams handout ay parang isang dokumento lang po na makikita ninyo doon yung itsura or naka-label na po siya, no, kung ano yung controls ng Microsoft Teams, no? Para lang po magamay ninyo na ito pala yung kailangan natin pindutin para ma-access natin ito. Yan, po ba? So, madali lang po siyang basahin kasi po nakaturo na po siya sa kung ano yung kailangan yung pindutin. And wala naman pong kailangan na technical expertise dito dahil communication platform lang din naman po siya and sharing file sharing platform. So, madali lang po siyang maintindihan. But then for those na kailangan ng for those na kailangan po ng mas maigting pa na pag-check kung paano ba ito magagamit. Meron po kaming tinatawag na interactive demo. Sana po nakikita ninyo yung screen ko. Ayan. Ayan. So ito pong interactive demo ito rin po yung isa sa mga ipoprovide namin sa inyo bilang reference nyo na rin kung kailangan nyo po na extra notes kung paano gawin ito, saan pupunta. And madali na lang po siya sundan dahil meron pong mga labels ito. Okay? Ayan po. Ayan. So madali po siyang gamayin. Ngayon, ang tanong po dyan, paano po kung kailangan nyo pa po ng separate na session at talagang gusto nyo talagang pag-aralan? Then pwede po natin pag-usapan yan. Siguro we can coordinate with the team, either with the ICTS or yung group po ni USEC or whoever po para po ma-organize natin yan. Pero this should be able to or be enough para po masimulan kayo sa paggamit ng Teams na gagamitin yun yung pong platform. So ayun lang pong gusto kong gawin po ngayong umaga po. No? Papakilala lang po sana namin yung Teams as the new platform. I hope that you are able to access the Teams. But if in case, again, kindly coordinate respectively with your either region or IT officers, division IT officers, or the ICTS. Further questions that can be escalated, pwede naman pong ilapit yan sa amin sa Microsoft. But all in all, nandito po kami para suportahan lahat po ng kailangan ninyo para po maging mas mapadali yung paggamit ninyo ng Microsoft Teams. Yun na po ang gusto kong i-share. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Katahan, for sharing information about Microsoft Teams. And hopefully, sa lahat ng mga participants natin, mas naging malinaw sa atin kung paano ba natin ito gagamitin upang mas maging madali ang pakikipag-communicate pa, lalo't higit sa kagawaran ng edukasyon. And we have now come to the end or almost end of our conference this morning. But before that, let us all welcome once again the Chief of Education Facilities Division, Engineer Annabel Arpangan, for her closing remarks.
Thank you. So bago po tayo i-close natin itong activity natin for this morning and this session for the Education Facilities Division, ilang reminders lang po base dun sa ating ginawang presentation kanina. For our regional and division engineers, again, yung ating pong memo on the revised parameters issued by USEC Alain for repairs, no? Nakalagay po doon ang deadline ng submission ng revised FAO for 2021 repair projects is February 18, 2021. So, hindi po na-update yung nandun sa memo. So, dahil po it's already February 22, we're moving the deadline for the submission by March 15, 2021. For the repair 2021 po, updating of the program of works. Kailangan po ma-submit nyo ito sa amin dahil March 31 po ang deadline natin ng submission sa DBM. Another one is the deadline for the submission of your budget proposal for 2022. Again, based on the parameters and yung mga items po na na-discuss ko kanina sa ating presentation, April 15, 2021 po ang submission ng inyong budget proposal by division for 2022. Okay? And final reminder lang po, yung mga may kailangang i-update pa po, lalong-lalo na sa kanilang physical and financial na reports. So we hope to receive a match updated report ng ating mga financial and physical accomplishments na na-discuss po natin kanina sa next reporting po natin ngayong March. Okay? So with that, we'd like to close this morning session of the Education Facilities Division. Salamat po sa pakikinig ninyo at sana po ay na-share namin sa inyo ang lahat ng mga importanteng bagay na dapat ninyong malaman, lalo na sa implementation ng ating various infra projects ng department. Again, thank you and good morning, and ingat po sa mga kasama natin sa Mindanao na ngayon ay binabayo ng ating malakas na bagyo. Thank you and good morning po.
Muli maraming salamat Engineer Annabel Arpaangan for giving your closing message, and hopefully sa lahat mas ma-enjoy pa natin ang session sa mga susunod na araw because there are a lot to be offered sa inyo ng Department of Education. And we do hope that everyone had an insightful day in this year's SIPAG Conference 2021. And the responsibilities we hold, may we continue to find meaning and inspiration to continue to do our best, #para sa bayan. Let us continue to foster the Department of Education spirit of service and excellence para sa ating mga kabataan. We hope that we all have our goals refined and our hopes renewed as we face this year's challenges. This has been Arman J. Dudas mula sa Department of Education Youth Formation Division, signing off. Have a great day at mabuhay tayong lahat.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled that need. A lonely place to be. And so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place